I'm not gonna lie to you, chat. I was spending like half of that goddamn opening, or like that starting suit screen, trying to find my glasses. I was literally about to come on stream and just like Velma-Max for like the first few minutes while I try and find my shit. But no, Common, thank you so much for the freaking raid, man. Chat, did the raid notification pop off, or is that just broken today? Is that shit just broken today? Because, got some technical difficulties over here to start us out. Fun fucking way to begin the year, I would say. Hold on, let me see here. I'm just gonna reboot it all together. Yeah. The raid notification did go off, yeah. Okay, good. You know what is gonna go off, though? Rather, what's gonna pop off in the ginormous, gargantuan, monolithic 2026. You know what the fuck is gonna pop off, chat? The goddamn Homeboy Club. Hello! Hi! Hi, everyone. My name is Giraffe7. I'm the president of the Homeboy Club, the very large enjoyer of gaming, wrestling, Danhausen, and my stinky cat. And tonight we kick off 2026 in style. And you know what? We're fucking done with doomerism. We're done with absolutely just farming for everyone's despair. I only have one thing to say to anything shitty that happens this year.
If you want to step up to Bungie, bring it on!
Step on up to fucking Bungie, brother. I have no idea if this is a bit or if it's not. Your voice is messed up. Is it? Alright, well that should probably tell you it's not a bit. Wow! Hello. Okay, yes, I was
messing around with shit. I was messing around with shit before tonight's stream. And I got some new, like little things set up here. I got some new hotkeys set up through a voice mod. I guess I forgot to fucking bring it back. I am now a god. I am now a god in the ginormous 2026. All right? LFAO bees. I absorbed all of the energy in the universe and became God! Bird up, chat. Dude, my 2026 is already crazy. Is that so? You know what, chat? Yeah. Tell me how your year has been so far. Also, Ice Savant, thank you for the follow. You are now a member of the Womboy Club for life. And while I have Commons Raiders here, hi, my name's Giraffe7. Like I said, I'm the president of the Womboy Club. I specialize mainly in professional wrestling content and streams and videos. Tonight we're going to be playing the video game from one All Elite Wrestling. It's called AEW Fight Forever. And wait, I got my ringside order in, and now I have a barricaded announce table for my figure. Ah, that's so sick, dude. That's sick as fuck. You know what's also sick? Following the Giraffe7 Twitch channel. Again, we do a lot of wrestling stuff over here. We do role-playing games, strategy games. Right now, I am mapping out what I'm calling the Geariverse, which is essentially a bit of a D&D inspired thing. And what I mean by that is I'm basically creating my own like little universe for like all of my wrestlers that we've created on stream throughout the years. Give them sort of more meaningful connections in a shared universe, you know? And I have been working overtime just trying to fucking figure out like what these characters are outside of the games that they were introduced in, you know?
Hello, Mario.
Happy New Year, Dan. Welcome to tonight's Longboy Club meeting. But yeah, if shit like that just sounds like really fun to you, if stuff like wrestling, world building, and just really general, like, you know, like absurdist stuff sounds good to you, then I would recommend giving this channel a follow. You'll have a lot of fun over here. Not only that, you'll have a lot of fun over in the Discord server because we do weekly community nights over there, mostly watch-alongs. This year, we're going to be leaning incredibly hard into the wrestling stuff, particularly Japanese wrestling, because I would like to get more into Puroresu this year. Starting with probably the biggest show in Japanese wrestling, of the calendar year, Wrestle Kingdom 20, where we will see the retirement of one
Hello,
Hiroshi
Mario.
Tanahashi. Will we ever get an explanation of how Gira got those spots? Well, listen, Ashley, I've accounted for a lot, okay? I've accounted for a lot. It's very big, it's very epic, it's very stupid, and I can't wait to put it all together for you guys in a presentable fashion. But yeah, fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna be watching Wrestle Kingdom 20 over in the server tomorrow night. The show is happening incredibly early, tomorrow morning at like 2 a.m. on January 4th in, Eastern time. Excuse me. But we will be screening the show, on the night of the 4th. The show will include... Let's actually pull up the match card here right quick. Wrestle
Hello,
Kingdom
Mario.
20, because I know that Wrestle Kingdom 20 does have the retirement of Japanese legend Hiroshi Tanahashi. I'm going up against Kazuchika Okada in his retirement match. We will also have a defense of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and Global Heavyweight Championships, featuring World Champion Konosuke Takeshita of AEW fame, going up against the Global Champion, Rising Star in New Japan, Yotasuji. You will also have a four-way match between El Desperado, Kosei Fujita, Taiji Ishimori, and Sho for the #1 contendership for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, and much more. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really cool. I cannot wait to dive into this world of wrestling. Rather, into this other world of wrestling. I hope that you all join me for it. For tonight, yes, we are going to be playing AEW Fight Forever with one and only Danhausen. Red Cold Ritsu's eternal lover and the eternal loser of all time, Danhausen. In contrast to the previous playthrough that we did, just wondering, how do you feel about Zack Ryder returning to the WWE? I mean, it's kind of what he's wanted for a long time. He has wanted to get back into WWE for a long time. I'm at least glad that they're calling him Matt Cardona, because it's always rubbed me the wrong way that when they brought back guys like Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth, they had them use their WWE names. I don't know how they feel about that, but as a fan, I'm just kind of like, all right, so what you're saying is that only, the stuff they do in WWE matters, and the shit they do outside of it, it's all bullshit. Which, I mean, if you see how the NXT TNA stuff has been going, you would probably think that. But yeah, good for TNA, by the way. I'm glad they got a TV deal. Hopefully, they can take a solid place as number 3 in North America, because that place, I mean, that's still a podium finish. I feel that there is a big hole for a top 3 promotions in North America. The TNA could grab that if they just fucking lock in. How do you feel about Tommaso Ciampa leaving WWE? I mean, how old is Ciampa? Hold on. Because it feels like he's been there forever. I looked him up. Tommaso Ciampa's 40 years old. So, I mean, 40 is kind of like the new 30 in wrestling, I think. Especially, if you're, keeping yourself healthy. 40 is the new 30, Especially, with Celluma replacement surgeries and shit like that. You can really just, elongate your career by an extraordinary amount. I will say that we are kind of at a point right now where if guys leave WWE, they should not go to AEW, because AEW's roster right now is just so bloated and so top heavy that, you know, breaking through on those shows, it's going to be next to impossible, I feel like. It's going to be next to impossible. So if I were them, I would probably go to, you know, one of the Japanese promotions or go to TNA. I mean, TNA is in desperate need of new talent, I feel like, because WWE just keeps on signing all their homegrown stuff, because Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry, I feel, were like the undisputed, like, top of the food chains in their divisions. And now both of them are in WWE. Didn't Undertaker retire at close to 50? Yeah, but by the time he got there, he was a inarguable shell of his former self, you know? And that's due to a variety of things, you know? It comes down to, you know, like the kinds of injuries he had, the kinds of, you know, like culture that he was a part of as well. Just like, yeah. By the time that he was sort of retiring, he could barely do like the stuff that he was most known for. I've been hearing new rumors that the Saudis want to buy WWE. They better fucking not. They better not. But no. If I could see Tommaso anywhere, I would like to see him in TNA. Because I feel like that, you know, TNA's audience is plugged in enough to where if Tommaso were to show up there, then they would welcome him in, you know? I'm surprised Tommaso is running out and not Johnny Gargano too, you know? Because ever since we saw them in, you know, like NXT for the first time, in my brain, those two were always like a package deal, you know? Like they're DIY, right? I know that Tommaso and Gargano have both had like singles success, especially Ciampa. So like him showing up and being a singles guy in TNA is not unheard of. And I guess like later on you could revisit stuff if like, you know, Gargano is released and he signs too. But in my head, they've always been a package deal. Also, sorry, I'm a little sick right now. We got shit going around the house again. And okay, there's something that Longboy Club favorite, Mew the Catboy, or Catboy Mew, posted in the server not too long ago that just like describes my current condition. Okay? I'm going to go and find it real fast, because it just completely describes my goddamn condition. My nose is not having a good time right now, chat. God, this shit was posted so long ago. Where the fuck is it? Dude. Okay, here it is. Literally, it was posted like a month ago. Hold on. There. My nose every night. Here. They completely repackaged Danhausen. He looks like another wrestler I know. He started wearing that towel. Yeah, he wipes off the face paint and then he walks down to the ring. He also, like, boosted by 2 whole weight classes. And he doesn't, like, get you in an octopus stretch anymore. He puts you in a chokehold. Which, honestly, a bold new direction for him. I'm sure he's gonna, you know, do really
Mario.
good in TNA here soon. I was told I was being talked about. Yeah, because I was referencing a meme that you posted in my server not too long ago that just really got me to laugh and made me think, wow, this is how I feel right now. Do I need to run in with a steel chair? You need to run in with
Mario.
the fucking... nasal decongestant. All right, it is him. It's Senor Joe, guys. Hello, Mew, and goddamn, Mr. Cake Dragon Man. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting, and thank you for following. You're now a member of the Long Boy Club for life, and as a member of the Long Boy Club for life, you are legally required to look at Mew's meme. Hold on, let me pull it up here. Bam, that. My nose every single night. This has been my nose for like the past few days. I'm not here anywhere near enough to have a sword. Also, hey, would you look at this Muse here and I have a sword and he doesn't? Yes, this is me right now. I'm hitting up that goddamn nasal decongestion as much as I'm hitting up the orange juice. Okay? I'm hitting it up like I'm hitting that shit up like a fucking obsessive ex. Alright? And it's very fitting that there's like a few bricks, right? Like there's some spaces in the bricks. So like air can get through, but not at a good enough rate to where it's comfortable, right? It's not entirely blocked off, but it's blocked off just enough to where it's like, damn, this is like actually doing like psychic damage to me now. Like, God, this right here is actually doing like psychic damage. I feel like my life go away the more I breathe through my nose, you know? I'm just like, where is that goddamn nasal decongestant spray? Courtesies that they're posting a super relatable meme. Listen, dude, Mew, your meme popped the club, you know? It fucking popped the LBC here. That's insane. Good job, brother. I think we need to have a round of applause for our boy here.
Hello, Mario.
Hello, hello, Bri. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. Again, we have like a packed house here. Thank you so much, everyone, for fucking joining me for tonight's festivities. Also, a deadlock jump scare. That'll come into play later. Uh-oh. Ah! Oh no, it's shitty. Oh, it's not that shitty. Deadlock jump scare, yeah. Note to self, this marker is from Mew's meme. Stick your nose in a jar of horseradish, it might open it up. Are you kidding me? Alright, hold on. I got horseradish here. I'll be back, chat. Horseradish away.
Hello, Mario.
First off, Mr. Cake Dragon, I don't think Fight Forever is all that bad. Second of all, congratulations. I have a tryout for an Indie Fed scholarship on the 10th. That's fucking awesome, man. You'll have to tell us about it, alright? Good luck. I hope that you go on to have a fucking run in Big Japan. Hold on. Alright, I got big horseradish here, chat. Fuck no, Big Japan. I want to keep my shins. Listen, man, your shins are the sole ownership of Big Japan. All right, you're gonna go over there. You're gonna get that deathmatch championship. All right, it's gonna be goated as shit. I'm 29. Well, that gives me confidence for, you know, when I want to train to be a wrestler, because I would like to wrestle at least one match in my lifetime, just to, you know, appreciate it on that level. But anyways, horseradish. Here we go. I have a fucking thing of horseradish here. It's prepared.
Hello, Mario.
Masada owns your shit. Yes, Masada owns your shids. I'd be safer GCW or old school CZW than do it, puss. Dude, I would, but there's no friggin' wrestling schools in my area. You know? Masada and Jun Kasai own your shins. And they will be used to prop up the goddamn Deathmatch Championship, okay? Look it up. Do it the hard way like I did. What is the hard way, brother? I got my Fighter Fest 2019 plans ready to go at TEW. That's awesome. All right, hold on. All right. I'm not feeling anything, Mew. Did you lie? Are any feds near me and looking around to see what's there? Okay, but like, how did you like learn to do like bumps and stuff? Anyways, yes, you see the fucking Geariverse stuff right here, chat. The feds have schools for that. They do? Alright. Well, listen, Mr. K Dragon, I will take that under consideration. Yes, fake fan. Listen, man. I don't claim to be a master of the indies, alright? I claim to be someone that wants to get into Japanese wrestling this year, alright? I want to become more worldly about this shit. Fake fucking fan. Going on Google looking for indie feds near me. Alright, well, like, give me an example, alright? Like, give me an example of, like, one of the feds you found. And, like, the school they have. Just out of curiosity. And at Full Gear, I plan on it being Paige versus Omega in a singles for sure. For the world title. Who's gonna win?
Is this meeting very nice or very even?
Well, you know, the jury's out on that one. But I will say that, judging from how much I'm being raked over the coals here for not knowing about indie wrestling, I would say very evil so far. But I'm hoping to turn that around here soon. Let's see, how much time do we have until the ad break? I can go a little bit. The one I'm going to is Coastal Championship Wrestling. As a wrestling school here in South Florida. Okay. Well, listen, I'll look up shit in my area, and I'll see what there is. Right now, though, I'm kind of getting into shape, too. Hell yeah, get started. Again, I would love to wrestle just at least one match in my lifetime. Just to appreciate it on that level, because I live and breathe this shit. Alright? Call me a fake fan all you want. But I was in the goddamn trenches of the 2010s, brother. I was forged in the fires of Finn Balor getting injured after winning the Universal title. And dog food getting caked on goddamn Roman Reigns. Alright? I was in the trenches of that shit. Then AEW came around, and it just revitalized my love for this shit. Hey Steph, do you hear that iconic cartoon character Betty Boop has made it into public domain? Are you I understand. I got back to exercising because my ass is turning 30 this year. My ass wants to get signed before I'm 37 at least and win championships. Again, best of luck, Mr. Cake Dragon. I'd imagine that road is going to be hard, but you fucking got this. Alright? You fucking got this, brother. You're gonna have to let us know how your first match goes. Anyways, I have been putting together the Geariverse, which is the shared universe. Thank you. I like your highlight channel. Thank you very much. Like my YouTube channel or my TikTok? Because I'm on TikTok as well. By the way, I'm on a lot of shit. Right here.
For life.
Thank you for the Prime, Mr. Cake Dragon. That's awesome. Take my money. No, you need that to train, brother. Listen, I will use it so I can train. All right, we're putting money into the Long Boy Club faction. All right. Before we get started with Fight Forever, I want to go over the liner notes of Gira here. These are literally just like fucking notes that I have written down. And they go as such. Gira is, for all okay, hold on. I need like some setup first. The namesake character, Gira, is a continuous focal point of the universe. He has seemingly godlike attributes and has ultimate power over space and time, even though he doesn't seem to know it. Giraffes are not animals, or rather not real animals. They are constructed by humans and monkeys, and have been as far back as the dawn of giraffes 25 million years ago. The stories that take place in the Giraverse happen on Earth. Characters' origins can involve celestial and sci-fi elements, and all characters are humanoid, or at least they present as such. And one more thing. There's an ongoing conflict between the monkeys. Why are you booing me? I think I'm cooking here, brother. Do you not see the vision? Well, maybe you'll see the vision after I read you Gira's thing. Gira is, for all intents and purposes, the main character of the Giraverse. He was created by the monkeys to be the ultimate super soldier in their battle against the stinky cats who ripped up their couches and bruised their bananas. He was a failed experiment, a giraffe mixed with primate DNA to create a mutant. You can't see the vision, your glasses are opaque. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, now I can see it well. A strand of human DNA fell into the vat to produce him. The monkeys flung poo at Gira. They sent him on his way after the failed experiment. He was filled with betrayal and self-doubt, and he did the only thing that could possibly help him cope. Build a zoo. The monkeys and giraffes were separated into tiny corners, chat. Into tiny corners. So you had giraffes on the left and monkeys on the right. There are only so many different kinds of giraffes you see, but there are many monkeys. So people care more about the monkeys despite their poo flinging. Because unfortunately, Gira did not put up barriers in their enclosures. The monkeys flung poo at the zoo goers. They didn't give a shit, alright? They didn't give a shit because the monkeys were cooler.
Can we boo the chef who cooked this out of the meeting?
Brother, I'm the chef that cooked this out of me. You want me to fucking go, huh? Anyways, the goddamn poo flinging and my rage at Bry fueled Gira's rage further, and he got into a fight with an orangutan. He kicked the orangutan's ass and invented the spinal tap and the Savannah special finishing moves. This is boomed as he turned his divided zoo into a giraffe and monkey fight club, one that everyone talked about. Gira was banned from competing as he was caught embezzling funds into the anti-monkey movement. The orangutan he beat up usurped the fight club from him. And after that, Gira would then turn to the one place he could fight and face no repercussions for his heinous acts.
How many movies and
WWE.
Disney Plus series will the Gyroverse have in phases 1 to 5?
The Gyroverse, for one thing, Homunculus, it's called the goddamn Giraverse. Second, it's gonna have at least a quadrilogy in the first phase. That's better than a trilogy because it's 4 instead of 3. And the first movie is going to be about Gira's creation and his exile from the monkeys and the building of his incredible zoo. The second movie is going to be about him getting jealous over the monkeys and fighting the orangutan. The third is going to be a high concept drama about the giraffe and monkey fight club. And the fourth one is going to be about him getting banned. Where do the Longboy Club fit in the Gira cinematic universe? Well, you'll just have to wait for that, alright? You'll just have to wait and see for that. Because now, we need to get into Fight Forever. But I will say that I've been having a lot of fun with this shit, okay?
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
This is honestly some of the most fun that I've had creating stuff in a long while, and I'm excited for you guys to see where it goes. I have 9 whole characters here. 9 characters. Yeah, remember it's spelled monkeys. That's right. That's right. Do you smell what Stev is cooking? Universe TEW mod? Dude, imagine the 5 people that would download that shit. I'm 3 of those people. I am 3 of those goddamn people. And before random grifters complain about giraffe fatigue and the GCU. Dude, that's not possible. All right? I spit in their eyes. I spit in their goddamn eyes like a giraffe would. Then I lick it because I have a long tongue. Anyways, let's do it. I will be back in a minute or two because I need to decongest. Hold on.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
See you guys in a few minutes. Enjoy the dulcet tones of one George Wood.
Welcome to Namcoville. Namco Museum Volume 5 is, a collection of 5 classic older-than-dirt Namco games.
Hello,
from the
Mario.
70s. It even comes with a special CD that includes 70s and 80s songs, exhibitions of 70s and 80s clothes, and 70s and 80s pixel dust. There we go again. Lies. All lies. There is no CD, folks, but the game does include a kinky, kinda cool gallery, which is fun to explore for a few minutes. You can check out the elevator if you're too much of a lazy bum to climb the stairs. I can relate. I'm so lazy that to avoid walking, I have a special car seat that detaches and rolls into the studio, planting me in front of the desk in our pathetic set. After taping, a trapdoor opens up and I'm thrust into the depths of the basement of this old, disgusting, roach-infested building. Just kidding. Anyway, let's move on. You can also peruse the Opera House and see slideshows of the frame rates from decades past. Plus, hear the old sound effects. The Ghost House is also worth a visit, as you can scare those buttheads out of the window until you're blue in the face. Like the biscuit, I feel like taking a moment, so bear with me for a sec. Okay, thank you. If you don't get it, too bad. Watch more TV. 3 games included in this Namco game are Metro Cross, which gets straight E's no matter how you rate it, Dragon Spirit, E's again, and Baraduke, E's, E's, E's. Together, these 3 games are worth half a bucket of spit, or any other bodily fluid. The only 2 games worth a hill of beans are
Om nom
Legend of
nom.
Valkyria
Oh, excuse me, we're
and
back, my
The
dudes.
former is the first game to feature the famed female Icelandic warriors. Heck, it's probably the only game. These girls are no Xenas either. This game has neat graphics for its time. Look at this effect for climbing a mountain. Cool, huh? If you want to see the earliest Zelda-ish game, this is what you need. Pac-Mania is the best of the bunch. 3D Pac-Man on Legoland, or excuse me, the land formerly known as Lego. Hey, remember our Lego website story? Here's a peek at that. We are, of course, kidding once again. The whole collection gets E's, except for a D in Challenge. These ratings are by today's standards, so what do you expect?
The Gearaverse is worth at least 67 buckets of spit, Dan. Yes, listen. I may be done at Walmart here soon, but I will miss ironically going 6-7 and doing like the hand fucking things with my coworkers, okay? Because a lot of them are like of the age to where they find that shit funny. 6-7. 6-7. Chat, it's worth 6-7 buckets of spit. Alright? That's a lot of fucking spit, alright? Imagine what you could fill with
No,
that.
none of that. Shame on you.
We have to use the phrase 6-7 all the time at work. It happens all the time. Hey, welcome back to Collision. Yeah, because it is Saturday, you know what that means. AEW Fight Forever is coming to you live from the Long Boys Zone, where it is 2026. Does it mean free ice cream? Dude,
Six
absolutely. Dude, I will never get over fucking Posty on the SmackDown versus Raw playthrough, where he was like doing a Santino Marella thing, and he called Chris Sabin Chris Lightsaber. He fucking cooked with that, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Anyways. It's time. Ow! Hey!
3 bells means free ice cream.
He fucking does. 3 bells means free ice cream. Yes! You know what? You got like 6 bells there, I feel like. So that is free ice cream for at least the next 2 weeks. Anyways. It's time for us to fulfill the destiny. Alright? Of the biggest loser in all of AEW. It is the one and only Danhausen. No, I will miss the 6-7 meme at work. Listen. You may scoff at it, but you know what we were laughing at back in the 2010s, chat? I'm about to put every fucking millennial and like early Gen Zer here on blast. Okay? This is for sure going to get me like freaking claimed as shit. But listen, I need you to really internalize this, all right? I need all of you to really internalize this because it shows that for as much as people don't like 6-7, you really know better, okay? And you know why? Because this exists. Yeah, we can choose a diet in the game. You saw this back then, chat. Don't even pretend you didn't. Don't pretend you didn't. Oh, fuck you. This was peak. How is this any different from 6-7? How is this any different from 6-7 or Skivvy's Hoyle or anything like that? It's in the same goddamn genre. It's the same fucking sheet music. Okay? This is the Gearverse already. See? I told you. I told you we're no fucking better. Okay? This right here is just the Gearverse. This right here is Gira fighting the orangutan. This right here is Gira versus the orangutan. It's even in the same engine. Yes, it's all in fucking, it's all in Gmod. Why are you booing me? I'm right. Why are you booing me? I'm right. They all boo you when you're right, chat. You all boo me when I'm right. Because actual effort went into this on like 6-7. Yeah, and I put actual effort into your mom. Anyways, now that my heel work is done, let's get into tonight's actual festivities, chat. I think I'm on Stev's side, TVH. No, we boo you out. Now we boo you out of the building. Well, who's gonna host the show then, huh? Who the hell is gonna put Danhausen on a vegetarian diet, play hints? No. I don't need hints when playing this shit. Also, you say that it is funny on easy. I am going to push back against that because what's going to happen is that moves are going to be slow to come out, you know, and the matches are going to take way longer than they should. So I think normal is a good Goldilocks zone for where we want to be, you know? So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's fucking do it. The community comrade. Ah, yes, it's not my stream anymore. It's everyone's stream. No. Don't play that. Don't play that. Don't play that. Okay, good. Block. Oh. Prologue. Now, of course, chat, a gloat run would not be complete without the goddamn losing of the Casino Battle Royale. I hope Danhausen is having a good day. I hope he is too, honestly. Why do I not see him on my screen right now? Is it just because of like his connections to Punk? Or am I thinking of something else entirely? Anyways, we gotta go to the pay-per-view, brother. We are in this Casino Gauntlet match. Let's do it.
The wait is over. You're watching All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing.
AEW would be an even better company if he had been a founding father of the company. Dude, imagine.
The following contest is a Casino Battle Royale.
Ratings through the fucking roof. All right. God, you always start in the beginning, dude. You always have to work. You always have to go the distance. AEW would be very nice and very evil right off the bat. I mean, look at this fucking crowded buy rate for freaking Double or Nothing. That's proof right there. With Powerhouse Hobbs? Come on. Danhausen and Powerhouse Hobbs are over here founding AEW with Lance Archer. And you want me to watch Kane? That's not happening, dude. That's never gonna happen. And Malachi Black? Holy beast. He was brought in to hurt people. Plus, he just had a child not too long ago. Oh, well, congratulations to him. Anyways, let's go ahead and put the music on, chat. This is the fucking music right here. Dude, I'm in here with like guys that are twice my size right off the bat. Yeah, Malachi Black. This is like pre back fixing, right? Nice. Dude, Danhausen can lift Powerhouse Hobbs? Can he lift Lance Archer? Hey. Can I lift up Lance Archer?
Hello, Mario.
We got Halo, Sims 4, Dragon Ball GT, and you want me to watch Kane? Like, it's not happening, dude. Dude, speaking of big meaty men, holy shit. You got goddamn all of these big men here and Danhausen. What more could you want? Oh my god! And Eddie Kingston? I want ice cream. Well, you better be satisfied with buckets of spit, brother, because that's what we got now. And we know Danhausen is the greatest big man in the world today. Dude, he is. He is. God, that running animation's so funny. It is, dude. That's like when you hear like... That's like when you get like Burger King and like you hear like the fucking like Whopper fall. And you hear your dog running for it, like you're fucking racing the dog to the kitchen, you know? And you hear your goddamn dog running for the fries in your Whopper. And you're just running for it. Although if I got Burger King, I'd honestly let him have it. That shit is all good for Romeo, okay? Because largely Burger King is pretty mid. That is dog food. Okay, well, what's a better comparison? Like Wendy's? Hey, I like Burger King, LOL. Listen, Romeo can have it. If I have it, I'm gonna be stuck on that toilet big style. Alright? If I have it, I'm stuck on that toilet, real big style. What is this? Oh, it's Pac. Am I seeing things? A self-described British bastard is at the memorial for one of American history's greatest figures. Maybe you stopped learning when you left school, Danhausen, but I didn't. I guess that's why I'm a class above you. My friend used to cheat off my tests in class. Joke's on him. We both failed. Yeah, well, let's take a picture quick before someone sees me with you. Alright. Do we overwork Danhausen on his days off or have him never work out? I feel like never work out is the goal. Unless there's like a cutscene, right? Like something like this, I think is fine. Because mechanically, the workouts don't have any big significance if you're playing as, you know, like an actual
If you have
wrestler.
a Romeo, where's the Juliet? Also
The
get
only
more food in your diet. Stop sitting around on the John.
Listen, man, I'm pushing out that SpongeBob Whopper and that Patrick Starberry pie as, you know, like in real time. I'm working overtime to get that shit out, man. I'm working for free. But no, mechanically, if you play as an actual like AEW wrestler, the workouts don't actually benefit you. The only thing that happens is that you get more tired, right? If you're playing as a custom wrestler, you can take the points that you get from the gym and put them into like stat upgrades and stuff. Review Bra didn't even have a bite of the SpongeBob Whopper, so I know it was really bad. Listen, man. If you're going in there expecting like a ginormous difference in the quality of like the SpongeBob Whopper, I don't know what to tell you. You know? I really don't know what to tell you. Alright. It's time to get our vegetarian fucking Washington DC food. Apparently it was bitter. Bitter? I mean, I didn't like really get that. All I tasted was a regular Whopper. But it has a square bun. You know? It's a total gimmick. Last time I'll mention this on your streams, but it feels weird to have a Saturday without a new SMG4 episode. Brother, I feel that way right now about Smiling Friends. Like, my roommate came up to me, and he was like, I miss our Smiling Friends watch sessions, you know? And I missed it too, because, like, that was something that we had a lot of fun with last year. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit freaked out by this piece of pizza. The pies our slices are cut from are about 3 feet in diameter, so we have big ovens. Enjoy. Let's eat. Hey JR, what do you think this pizza could use? Oh shit, that's right, I don't have hints on. This time he doesn't think it could use any of JR's barbecue sauce. He finally came to his senses on that shit. Anyways, mini game time. If you have a Romeo, where is the Juliet? Well, listen, I only have enough room for so many pets in my space, okay? I only have enough room for so many pets in my space. I have 2 cats and a dog. If I were to get a 4th pet, it would be another cat. Or maybe a lizard.
Lizard, 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 lizard.
That's what I want in my house, chat. So, Danhausen, you here to play a game with us, BTE style? Today's game is chip. Oh, alright, right. I'm gonna blow you away with my skills in this one. I'm all chip, no dip.
Let's start the party.
Let's start the party, okay. The Danhausen Za. I don't know, I like lizards, so I'm a big fan, I could say. Oh shit! Ah! I do enjoy that, like, all the characters in this game have like unique you know, grunting sounds and shit. That's an oddly, like, good level of, like, effort I wasn't expecting from this game. Dude, no way. No way. Am I gonna clutch this? I think I just might clutch this. Dude, no! Okay, okay, good. I don't really think there's any, like, real chance of them, like, catching up at this point. Yeah, baby. Dude! 64 lead! Does winning mini games count, though? I don't know. Ritsu, does that count? I'm willing to say it doesn't count. Because that's not wrestling. Everyone gets lucky once in a while, I guess. But now we gotta cough up some SK. What is SK? Oh, skill points. Got it. It doesn't. Got it. Okay, good. So I can actually try in the mini games. But when it comes to, like, the wrestling, you know what? No, that would be a BTE thing. Like, Danhausen loses all of his goddamn matches, but on BCE, he's like the GOAT, you know?
All Elite Wrestling's
like he's big on the YouTube channel. He's like the winniest winner of all time. But on Dynamite, he's like the ultimate loser.
Of a revolution in pro wrestling. You better believe that every person on the stacked roster is jockeying for a top position.
But if they don't want my barbecue sauce on their pizza, they can eat my entire ass. That Danhausen, I just think that he's a big old piece of shit. Needs to be officially recognized. Dude, we are not fucking going with Powerhouse Hobbs from the jump. We are going to get squashed here right off the jump. This would be a fucking awesome tag team, though. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm looking at this right now, and this team is beasts. All right. Putting Hobbs over, very important, incredibly important. Because Hobbs is beast, and Danhausen is Danhausen. Big meaty men slapping meat. Two absolute giants of the industry, both figuratively and literally, right here in the ring right now. I think it's fine for us to get some shit in, though, right? But ultimately, we have to lose. Like my thing in this is to lose as many single matches as possible, you know? How do we feel about, like, winning tag matches, but as the other guy? Where do we stand on that? Oh my god, he put him over. Dude, he lifted him up just like he did a Double or Nothing. And here we go. Ah, the bear hug. Zero wins for sure of any kind. How can there be Powerhouse Hobbs but no Powerhouse Calvin? Because Ben Watterson would never approve. That's very true. Because Calvin is too busy being on, like, stickers of him pissing on things. Have you guys seen those stickers of, like, Calvin from, like, Calvin and Hobbs? Just, like, pissing on certain things? Well, no, like, the stickers of him pissing. And then there's, like, usually something next to him that he's supposed to be pissing on. Those stickers fucking suck, LMAO. Ow! Dude, they do. They're awesome. Dude, they're chanting for Danhausen. He is putting the boots to fucking Powerhouse Hobbs here. He's over. Dude, he is. He is over like Rover. Now, the unfortunate thing about this, right, is that every time we lose, I think we get, like, an injury just because we get our Just because we get our shit pushed in so much. Tap. No, we didn't tap. Wait. Curse. Curse. No way, dude. Really? Nothing. Probably eventually get bought out by a big media company that only cares about money. R.I.P. Peanuts. I mean, Peanuts surprisingly gets like quite a few things in the modern day, I feel like. Like they had like that Franklin, like, you know, like, or like that Franklin series that was on Apple TV. It had a couple other things too, I think. For how like old Peanuts is, it still like gets quite a few things, I feel like. Dude, just kill him already. Spine on the pine! That's it, dude.
1, 2, 3.
He got the win back. Peanuts got bought by Sony recently. I thought they were owned by Disney because, like, you know, Blue Sky did the Peanuts movie, right? I cannot stop having sneezing fits. My nose feels like it wants to go on a sneezing fit like every few minutes right now. It's very annoying. You should mix it up in the Casino Battle Royale as well. Hobbs comes out on top tonight. I could see that Powerhouse Hobbs going places, but that Danhausen...
Fun fact, the reason Mark Hamill took over the role of the Flying Dutchman in The Search for SquarePants was because the Dutchman's usual VA Brian Murray Doyle was busy at the recording dialogue for the Titans of the Tide video game.
Brian Murray Doyle probably wouldn't have said SpongeBob Big Guy Pants okay, so that's probably a definite upgrade, right? I think we can all agree that's an upgrade, or at least a grade of sorts. That right there is a certified grade. Not an up or a downgrade, just a grade. Lose your luggage, Danhausen. It's on Earth somewhere. If I stay in one place long enough, it'll come around. I know we've had our battles, but we're teaming up tonight. No hard feelings? News to me, but sure. If you bust your ass like I will to win tonight, we're all good. No problem there. Losing sucks. Losing luggage, for example. Alright, so running the question back, chat. Is it or is it against the prompt to fucking win tag team matches, but
big
as
guy,
the other guy?
Pants. Okay. Big pants. Okay, pants.
Mediocre pants. I think you have to lose them all. I'm fine with losing them all, but I want to hear from the room, you know? We're joined by one of the stars of AEW, the founder, the very nice and very evil founder of AEW, Danhausen. Nice to have you here. Thank you for having me. Tell me about this AEW. Is it for longtime wrestling fans? Newer wrestling fans? We have a wide variety of styles and characters. We basically want everyone to enjoy the ride. And what a wild ride it is. Make sure to catch AEW Dynamite live this week from right here in LA. It's funny because I don't think AEW ran California for like the first couple of years of its existence. Tell me about this AEW. God, LOL. Dude, if someone were to fucking ask me that, I'm wringing my hands immediately, alright? I'm like, bro, you want me to begin? Because I will. I will go off. Who is this 4chan? Who is this 4chan and why do they have my IP address? Is the Hulk Hogan at AEW? Fuck no. Not now. Not ever. Fuck no. All right, we got avocado toast here, dude. Awesome. Fat fruit. All right, we're gonna run the ad chat. So far, my nose is not too congested.
It's break time.
Right now.
Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. Well, I guess Collision. But Collision didn't exist when this game came out, so...
Now, here's an infuriating game. Myst is a top-selling PC game, now available from Psygnosis on the Sony PlayStation. No other game best represents the sluggishness of CDs. Even when you have the fast transition option selected from the menu screen, the game performs as well as a snail. Myst is definitely a classic though, and we see why. As we show you around the main island, notice the quality of detail in the graphics and the non-uniformity of trees and whatnot. Myst combines a surreal, what we call Gaia theme, and a scientific mysteriousness that both intrigues and perplexes. Oh, let's get back to the infuriating qualities. I almost forgot. We tried. We really tried. But even with a hint book, the game is invincible. There's one key problem area very early in the game, and we never passed it. The problem is in the spaceship, where you must enter a musical sequence to a tuner. The musical sequence is found in a book in the library, and there's even a harpsichord in the spaceship, so you can play the notes, hear them, remember them, and enter them correctly in the tuner. Well, good luck entering them. Even entering one note at a time won't work for us. We know other players who got stuck here too, but they only played the game briefly. This is absolutely ridiculous, because even though you know the solution, you can't execute it. Another gripe. Myst has no password feature, so memory cards are a must. One thing that isn't a must, however, is Myst itself. Sorry guys, but I've had enough of being mystified, and if I have to put up with one more groaning noise from the PlayStation as it very slowly switches screens, I'll freak out.
And hello everyone, welcome back to Raw. So,
oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Welcome back to Raw, or Collision. Question for everyone. And I figured that I would ask this at the top of the new year, just so we're going in with fresh eyes, right? Do we prefer longer ad breaks, but less of them? Or short ad breaks, but more of them? Because I'm fine with either or. Personally, I'm leaning towards longer ad breaks with less of them, because then that way we can just spend more time with the game outside of the ads, you know. Let's sit through cringy AI generated ad from Kalshi or Kalshi. Longer but less of them. Oh well, at least it wasn't a recruitment ad for dude, it's either AI generated slop or ice ads. We are in fucking hell, dude. Hell is real, and it's called working at a tech company in the 2020s. Longer. Okay. Longer, but less of them. All right. Yeah, personally, I prefer longer, but less of them. Because then, Gitsy can be a bit more special. And two, we can just spend more time with the game and not as much time on ads. I guess the former, but with less AI-generated ads. Longer. Everything is long here, like tonight's stream, because we're going to be going for probably like 4 hours. So, not with this game though. We're gonna go with it for like 2.5, and then I have something else to switch to. We need a 4, so I guess you can play. Today's game is AEW Pop. Dude, the questions they have on this pop quiz are actually going to be kind of tough, I feel like. I prefer longer ads, but less of them. I prefer longer, but less of them. That's what she said. Listen, it's not about the size of the polycule, it's about the quality of it. Alright? Did you miss what Dan said? What did he say? Dude, what's this music? Darby Allin. Longer ad breaks, but more. Get that money. Longer ad breaks and more of them. we have. Hold on. Jeff notably appeared on a talk show when he was a kid in 2001. What did he do on that show? You are... Yeah, dude. Dude, that was entirely just a guess. You can't be all great because the player chose me instead. Oh, who was the inaugural TNT champion? That would be Cody. Yeah, like some of the questions are like, who among these people was born in like 1991 or something? And I'm just like, I don't know. Dude, 2 times in a row. This shit is making big waves on YouTube right now. You know what they say about polycules with big feet? No, I don't. What do they say about polycules with big feet? Oh boy. Time for more toast, brother. Here's your avocado toast. Dude. With the kind of contract you're getting at AEW, I can have this shit every day. Fatty fruit. That's what they call it. Hoshikata, Danhausen. Avocados are common in Japan, and we love toast. But maybe we don't have avocado toast. Were you ever one of those girls running out of the house with a piece of toast sticking out of your mouth? Oh boy. Come on. That's an anime thing. What the fuck? But yes, I've done that.
Avocado toast?
Judge.
Wait, we've
Kids
done
are
this
super
before.
busy in Japan. There isn't always time for breakfast. But I do have time for a picture. Dude, I don't even know how to feel about that. That was odd. that was weird. Wait, avocado toast? Wait, we've done this before. Now, here's a fun thing, chat. I've actually never had avocado toast. I've had like guacamole and stuff like that, but like even that took a long time to sort of come around to, right? For like a long time, I just didn't really enjoy avocado. And then I had it on a burrito bowl and I was just like, man, this shit's actually pretty good, you know? But avocado on toast is weird. My mom hates avocados and guacamole. I like guacamole when it's paired with something, obviously. When that's like not the dominant flavor palette, you know? It's kind of like mushrooms, but I prefer avocados way more than mushrooms. So, I don't know. I thought, you know what they say about polycules with big feet? I don't know. What do they... No, I don't. What do they say? I don't know. I thought you might know. I mean, I feel like I need to call on Patch for that. Patch, is this anything? Is anything that Dan's talking about right now meaning anything? Anyways, longer ad breaks but more, get that money. Dude, we gotta be like modern WWE. We get 3 minutes of ads for every 10 minutes of gameplay.
The following contest is a tag team match set for one fall.
Oh, Patch isn't here, sadly.
Making their way to the
As a
ring.
poly person? No, got it. Okay, but what if they do have big feet? Is that anything? Or is it just like, oh, well, you... Oh, well, look at your feet. That's crazy. So we agreed that we need to lose the tag team matches as well? Or can we actually try? As a poly person with big feet, I just have big shoes. Listen, when I was a kid, people told me I had big feet and that meant that I would be large in real life. And you know what? They were absolutely right. In the modern day, I'm 50 feet tall. I tower above literally everybody I know. My neck is incredibly large in comparison to the rest of my body. My dad was always right about me. All right? He told me I was going to be large, and now I'm in charge, chat. Anyways, Defo's got to put over Scorpio Sky. I really don't want to, though. I don't want to. If I'm being... I'm going to be 100 with you, brother. I don't really want to. But listen, if we have to put him over, then here's what we're going to do. Powerhouse Hobbs is not going to be in this match at all. Let Orange Cassidy get the pin at least. There's a fun mechanic in this game where like Cassidy can put his hands in his pockets and it will like give him like stat buffs. And he can also like pin you while his hands are in his pockets. You gotta put over Scorpio Sky at least, LMAO. Listen, how about this? Because generally I don't really want to play these tag matches if we're gonna go out to lose them. So here's what we're gonna do, right? Ooh! It's like, here's what we're gonna do. Cassidy, you get up, right? You get your shit in. Can you please at least put your hands in your pockets so we can do... Or you could just tag out immediately. That's also fine. The only shit that we get in is when we're, like, double teaming like this.
Gyro, what the hell are you doing? You can't go into business for yourself.
Says who? Says who? Listen, we're fucking Danhausen. We founded this place. We are the face that runs the place, alright? We gotta get our shit in somehow. If we're going to lose, then we have to get our shit in. That being said, it would be very nice if they would... It would be very nice if they did any attacks on me at all. Oh, you fucking tag out the Scorpio Sky immediately. Please. You piece of shit. Chat, I am petitioning. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Scorpio may be cooking. Scorpio might be cooking. Come on. Do you plan to introduce any public domain characters into the Gearaverse? What I plan has to remain a secret for the time being outside of Gira, alright? But I can't... Ow. No way, they both have their goddamn signatures. Rick Knox, you gotta fucking count that shit, dude. Good. Alright. Alright, cool. I put him over. I put over goddamn Scorpio Sky. What the hell was that sequence? LOL. That was like very much, dude. Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs at this point, green as shit. Danhausen, we're booking him as a jobber. We gotta take this shit home right now. Okay? We gotta take this shit home immediately. Listen, at the very least, I'm not getting injured. Because when I tried to, like, test this run out, I just got injured every single fucking match. It was crazy. Austin, Texas. Thanks for the lift. Partners help each other out. Would appreciate more help in our match. That's the pass. Hear about our next match? It's a big one. If we win, I'm here in title shot. How do you always find out about this stuff before I do? You're good in the ring, but maybe your politicking needs work. Oh, I bet it does, brother. If you bring me in, I can help out Danhausen with that, dude. How would that be a title shot? Danhausen is 0-3. LMAO. Well, listen, management's high on Hobbs, okay? I almost want to win this match, and then go to the pay-per-view just to choke. He's feeling upwards, just like a nepo baby. I almost want to win this match, right? I want to win this match, and then fucking go to the pay-per-view and choke the tag title match.
Right, let's go down Hobson.
Dan Hobson is awesome. Wow. Batman will be public domain in 2035, and he's the only character I'd be willing to see turn into a gritty horror movie. In the Geariverse? Like, do you want that in the Geariverse? Danhausen, just the player character we were waiting for. Today, we're playing Penta Says. Follow Penta's lead with various poses. Stick to the beat, or hit the bricks. I channel Penta every time you kick the crap out of you young bucks. I can't lose.
Better stay focused.
Is Batman a gritty horror character in the Geariverse? In like 10 years' time. Sure, why not? Dude, that's awesome. Dude, why did it have like the... Dude, why did it have like the Sonic CD like sound sample there? Did you hear that? It's like I'm glad that Yuke's new ball there. They knew enough ball to fucking appeal to my Sonic autism even when I'm not playing Sonic. Thank you, Ukes. Alright, Dude, Dan Hobson needs to fucking win at least once, okay? I did set out to team with someone who, for all intents and purposes, is my rival. But in AW, you never know what's going to happen. At Dynamite, me and my new partner will face a bona fide dream team. All dreams must come to an end, and when your eyes open, you'll be looking straight into mine. So don't miss the match, Texas. When did this game turn into Mario Party? When fucking Danhausen started being the GOAT on friggin' BTE is when it happened. I don't know. I enjoy the idea that in almost every other context... And I dream broken
dreams, I make them come true.
Come true. Goated theme, brother. Tex-Mex. Vegetarian style. Which is literally just beans and corn wrapped in a burrito. Wrapped in a tortilla shell. Also, those friggin' eating sound effects were crazy. Danhausen, I saw you enjoyed some Tex-Mex and wanted to talk to you. Just like all Mexicans do when they see a person eating Tex-Mex. You know, that triangle is like Brit-Mex. We perfectly blend British and Lucha Libre styles. You and your new partner are a bad combo. Dude, what are you talking about? Dan Hobson is fucking beast. Remember, bad teams don't last. Just you fucking wait, dude. We're about to be put over for the first time. Over on Dynamite this week. It's gonna be goated. Sightseeing as Danhausen. Outdoor art gallery in Austin, Texas. Artists, when given a chance, can make something really special. Being an AEW, that's my chance to make something special of my own. By losing every match, the more you get indigestion. Brother, as a chili connoisseur, I'm all about them beans, alright? I'm pulling up to the beans, and I'm getting those beans, alright?
The following contest is a tag team match.
Oh, god damn it.
One fall.
Dude, this shit is gonna be hard. I can already tell.
Making their way to the ring, he is very nice.
Big pyro for Danhausen, brother.
Well, it's the Big Stinger Show.
It's the Big Sting Show.
And his tag team partner,
All the pyro. All the pyro for fucking Hobbs.
We
We're Awesome. Big Show. Big Show. All right, let's do it. This right here is like Hogan Rock, dude. Danhausen and Sting. Wow. I'm pointing to my arm and I'm slapping that shit big style. Very reminiscent of Hogan Rock here, dude. What? Dude, was that Sting? Dude, I didn't know that Sting was like a ventriloquist artist. Wow. Dude, that's awesome. No way. Danhausen's working over Paul White. Or just Paul, as it would seem. All right. I'm sorry, dude, but there's no way we're losing the goddamn 3-hit replacement Paul White and 63-year-old Sting here tonight. All right. Ah, the power of this duo is unmatched. Come on, Hobbs. Get him. All right, we need music. Hold on. I think bouncer music works well for this. This right here is the dream team we didn't know we wanted. Who? I'm Dan Hobson. Hey! Dude, what the fuck? That's unfair. I literally can't do anything to help Hobbs right now. No losing to Sting. Sting stinks. Come on. Come on, Jack. Can we get that chant going? Can I please get a Sting stinks chant going in the fucking LBC here tonight? No way! Tell Sting to take a bath. You stink. Dude, I timed out his finisher. I timed out his finisher. You might not even need to throw this. It might, no, literally, it might just fucking be a losing effort if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Rick Knox, can you please count goddamn Sting out of this match? Sting got it. Sting about to sting a bath bomb is crazy. Wait a minute, I can do Suicida dives, I think. Shit! No, how can anyone lift the Big Show? We're searching Big Show, seek and destroy! That's their matchup theme, dude. Searching Big Show, seek and destroy! No! Okay, good. My only thing is this, right? Like, Hobbs... If we win this match, Hobbs needs to get the pin, right? No. No! Are you kidding me, dude? Well, that didn't put him over. Dude, that's not how you put over Hobbs. Dude, that's not what we're doing here. That is not the assignment. That's not how we're putting over Hobbs. Okay? Sting, you better go to the back after that shit and really reevaluate things, alright? We have a hot new prospect here in Powerhouse Hobbs, and you're just gonna fucking poo-poo all over his success. I get it. It's fine, it's whatever. Baggage claim in Jacksonville, Florida. It's been 2 hours. If I don't leave now, I'm gonna miss the last shuttle. But I don't even have my gear. I hope they find my bag. Wait, what? We have cutscene here. So chat, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am willing to skip the Dark and Rampage matches for the sake of just pacing of this playthrough, right? Because I feel like that as we do more of those Dark matches, it's going to be diminishing returns, you know? We gotta cut out all the fluff and we just gotta focus on what really matters, and that's losing on the biggest stage, okay? Actually, no, I disagree. I think you need a reminder about how great singles matches are. I don't need that against you, dude. You mean the main event, what do you say? That's a serious challenge by a dangerous opponent. You want me? You got me. That's what I want. See you on Dark. Listen, okay, I will make an exception, alright? I will make a slight exception. Sammy, what the hell is that hair? It is hair, alright. Some may say football players are as much gladiators as pro wrestlers. You're huge. You must have played, right? No, I took my studies seriously as a youth. First I was homeschooled, and then I earned 2 degrees. Wow, I guess you can't judge a book by its massive, scaly cover. Cool. Sammy, what the hell is that hair? Dude, we fucking talked about the crazy hair that Guevara had last stream. I don't think he's had this hair
That means you have huge guts.
You got guts. That's such good shit, pal. Alright. So here's what we're gonna do, chat. I'm gonna go dining, first off. And then I'm going to accept Sammy's challenge, and we're... Lucha, what was that hair? I mean, that was pretty normal hair compared to goddamn whatever Sammy Guevara was rocking there. Dude, key lime pie is so good. The layer face of the Gearverse introduced new characters that aren't well received by the general audience, forcing producers to reverse course, bring back the legacy characters of the Gearverse to bring back their original audience. Listen, man, there will never be a fucking goddamn era like that because the Gearverse is on another level. Alright? There's never gonna be another era like that. The Gearverse is long enough to go the distance with fan investment and enthusiasm, alright?
The following contest is set for one fall.
Yeah, dude, that hair is like a skyscraper. That's crazy.
Making his way to the ring.
That hair that Sammy has is practically a skyscraper.
Evil Danhausen.
Will the Gearverse include card gaming, purely asking for purely selfish reasons?
Spanish God, Sammy Guevara.
Do you want like a Gearverse like trading cards? Is that what I'm getting from you right now? Because honestly, I think that would be pretty beast. Imagine the Gearverse trading card game. Dude, what the heck was that? Please imagine the trading card game, because I can't imagine it. Hold on. Let me go to participants and see what Danhausen's action skills are. Desperation Impulse. Affectation. I mean, my series has a direct reference to Shining Lizard in it. LMAO. Which honestly,
it's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Honestly, like, I don't really know like what to say to that other than that's so fucking cool, and I really, really am happy that my shit has connected with you in that way to where you would do something like that. Ow! Will the Gearverse be directed by Zack Snyder? Listen, dude, if we need a fucking gritty, like, sequel, I know who I'm calling. I'm calling my friend Tyler, because he knows all about that shit. He probably knows not to turn Superman evil for the sake of it. I'm calling my friend Tyler. He fucking knows all about gritty world building, okay? I feel like we should have a competitive match here, right?
1, 2.
Yeah, I figured. Aphantasia? Dude, listen. If the Gearverse card game were like goddamn Aphantasia, money. That right there is oodles and buckets of money. Alright? Oodles and oodles of cash coming in. You do know it's a genuine thing, right? Like it's not a franchise name or whatever. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, my fucking attention is being pulled here a little bit. Maybe I have Aphantasia. Actually, no. Aphantasia really just means that you can't, like, perceive anything. Some with what? Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks not to see the apple, LMAO. I have a very, like, wild imagination, I feel like, in terms of just, like, I'm able to perceive shit in my head. Nice. I don't know if we have Aphantasia. I don't know if I have Aphantasia or not, TBH. I mean, like, when you think about concepts, can you visualize them or no? Dude, I'm for sure going into this match injured. I'm for sure going into this pay-per-view match injured, dude.
1, 2, 3.
Please don't go injured. Do not get injured. Don't get injured. Don't get injured. Please. 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 Ah, the usual test is either imagine an apple or imagine a red star. I mean, can you imagine a red apple, chat? Can you imagine Gira? That should be the goddamn test right there. No injury, no injury, no injury. Ah, thank God. For a small amount of energy. There you go. All right. Pay-per-view time. It's time to keep getting that fucking L, dude.
It's Saturday night, and you know what that means. AEW All Out is live and sold out here in Jacksonville, Florida.
One of our most promising tag teams has imploded and will battle it out tonight in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
No. Not Dan Hobson.
Hello, Mario.
Dude, the disillusion of Dan Hobson is cold. You hate to see it.
This is a Falls Count Anywhere match set for one fall.
Yeah, promising, man.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Well, I need to. All right, well, I need to run the ad break. Anyways, hi Ryan, how are you doing tonight? Coming out in fucking black.
His opponent, Power.
Falls Count Anywhere with rope breaks. It's under pure rules, dude. You get 3 rope breaks and then that's it. Anyways, before the pay-per-view match, let's run. Ow! Before the pay-per-view match, let's run the ad.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this.
Now here's an infuriating game. Myst is a top-selling PC game, now available from Psygnosis on the Sony PlayStation. No other game best represents the sluggishness of CDs. Even when you have the fast transition option selected from the menu screen, the game performs as well as a snail. Myst is definitely a classic though, and we see why. As we show you around the main island, notice the quality of detail
Play Magic
in
the
the
Gathering,
graphics
3-player
and the
commander, great
non-uniformity
tabletop
of
game
trees
night. That's
and whatnot.
awesome.
Myst combines a surreal, what we call Gaia
I don't know
theme
much
and
about
a
Magic the
scientific
Gathering, but I know that
mysteriousness
there's
that both intrigues and
Sonic
perplexes.
cards, and I want to get those.
Let's get back to the infuriating qualities.
Wait, hold on.
I
I'm gonna get
almost
up and
forgot.
stretch for a second.
We tried. We really tried. But even with a hint book, the game is invincible. There's one key problem area very early in the game, and we never passed it. The problem is in the spaceship, where you must enter a musical sequence to a tuner. The musical sequence is found in a book in the library, and there's even a harpsichord in the spaceship, so you can play the notes, hear them, remember them, and enter them correctly in the tuner. Well, good luck entering them. Even entering one note at a time won't work for us. We know other players who got stuck here too, but they only played the game briefly. This is absolutely ridiculous, because even though you know the solution, you can't execute it. Another gripe. Myst has no password feature, so memory cards are a must. One thing that isn't a must, however, is Myst itself. Sorry guys, but I've had enough of being mystified, and if I have to put up with one more groaning noise from the PlayStation as it very slowly switches screens, I'll freak out.
A centrifuge machine, is that how you say it?
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Centrifuge machine, is that how you say it? Hold on. Subject a specimen to a specified constant force. Navigator, dude, the Navigator is always gonna, Navigator is always gonna be better than the goddamn AI generated ads. To subject. A centrifuge is a device that uses...
When can we expect an animated trilogy based off Giraffe meeting different versions of Giraffe from alternate dimensions?
A centrifuge is a device that uses centrifugal force to subject a specimen to a specified constant force. For example, to separate various components of a fluid. Dude, this sounds like a torture device. Dude, on Twitch, you get 3 things. You get one of 3 things. AI generated slop, gambling ads, or goddamn like penis explosion chamber stuff. Those are the 3 things you get. Those right there are the 3 things that you get. It's used for stuff like separating blood samples for medical purposes. It's actually very useful, LMAO. Are you the target audience for that, Soul? Are you the target audience for that? Here, let's do this. While you think about that, it's boss time. I'm just Tism. Joking. On Twitch, you get 3 types of ads. It's either ice recruitment, AI generated slop, or penis explosion chamber. It's one of the 3. Oh, hey. Hey, dude! No way! Dude! No way! We got real fucking grabs here at All Out. So chat, I don't think this match should leave the ring. I got an ad for Xbox Game Pass and Nissan. Again, refers to the penis explosion chamber part of the description. A technical fucking clinic going on here at All Out. So instead, Into the Gearverse animated trilogy win. Listen, man, I feel like we need to get the thing to exist first. And then we can worry about alternate versions of Gira. We can't even think about Across the Gira-verse yet when I haven't even like planned out the initial Gira-verse. We need to crawl before we can walk, you know? Oh, hey! So when can I run a D&D game with Gira in it? Dude, you can do that anytime, frankly. I would be absolutely honored if you did that. I think that would be cool as fuck. Spine Buster! Dude, it'd be some shit if this Falls Count Anywhere match doesn't even leave the ring. No way, dude, the abdominal stretch. Danhausen and Hobbs did not understand the assignment here. Plants him. Just keeps planting him with the splashes. Ow. Dude, Danhausen might be needing looked at here after the match. This is not good. Yeah, that's fair. that right there is absolutely fair. I did 15 moves that whole match. Dude, that was like almost a squash. That's crazy. That right there was almost a goddamn squash match. Turned back into rivals and hopefully ended their bitter feud here tonight at All Out. Listen, man, Hookhausen needs to come back. I expect nothing less from these Warriors. Danhausen, that match leaves no doubt in anyone's mind that our team is over. So we can end on good terms. I admit to a little rib. I stole your luggage. It's under my coat in my locker. No hard feelings? Well, hold on. Are we actually gonna like, nah. Yeah! Oh, super kick, nobody can believe it. I guess there were hard feelings after all. And a hard kick puts the exclamation point on the end of this partnership. I'll be honest, at least we got our heat back after that match. Dude, how do we not get injured? How are we not getting injured during the... God damn it. I don't want this story, man. I don't want this goddamn story. I do not want the inner circle to break out, okay? In my timeline, the inner circle is dead. It is Deadhausen. What if the Gira-verse inspires Turkish ripoffs? Well, then listen, I'm calling for my goddamn royalties. Like, they can stay up. But I need...
They were all dead. The final super kick was like an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point.
They're all dead. I killed them all. And not just the men. And not just the men housing, but the women housing and the children housing too. I slaughtered them like animals housing. Okay. We gotta go to a goddamn meet and greet, right? Again, I'm not gonna take dark bookings or rampage bookings unless someone challenges me directly. Alright? Your turn. How much can you bench? Usually my full body weight, but first, right down on a bench. Or chase lounge if I'm feeling fancy. Go ahead. Oh wow, I can't believe it's really you. Sometimes I'm not always sure, but yeah, I'm pretty confident it's me. On everything that led to this point. Brother. Even friggin' Powerhouse Hobbs knows the potential of Danhausen, you know? Identity theft arc. Yeah, we gotta win our fucking like identity back from the Bucks here. So Danhausen, you here to game with us, BTE style? It's time to play Bomb Hurl. Bombs? Find bombs and toss them at barrels in the ring. More
Jesus Christ,
means
it's
victory for us
Danhausen.
extremely violent people. Jesus Christ, it's Danhausen. Jesus Christ. Also, now there are bombs under the ring, but when I need one during a match, nada. Very safe for your active wrestlers to do. Bombs? You want it? Toss propane tanks into the ring to blow up barrels. The more barrels you destroy, the more points you'll earn. Toss tanks using X. The size of the tank determines how far it can be thrown, and decides what's blast. Twist Danhausen was mistaken by that nerd as someone from Insane Clown Posse. Dude, honestly, that'd be pretty based. Wow, this perspective is something, dude. This fucking perspective is something else.
Lamp oil, rope, bombs. You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies.
No, it's Cheetos, dude. It's fucking Cheetos for the homunculus. Bomb them all. Dude, there's no way. It's a tie between Kenny and Nick. It's a draw. I can imagine Hank Hill wanting to boycott AEW for their improper use of propane.
Look, I'm
Brother.
forced against my will to serve as a sound puppet for the other club members. Just deal with it.
You can't buy Cheetos with rubies. You stupid idiot. You know what? No. I don't want to go to the gym. I want to sightsee. Might dip early to see if some sleep helps my sick, but have a great rest of your stream. Hopefully you improve, Soul. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We're going to do one more pay-per-view cycle, and then we're going to go into the final bits of the stream. The sun written on the bell. Proclaim liberty throughout all the land, unto all the inhabitants thereof. Hey! Abaddon! Unsurprisingly affectionate growling. I'm getting emotional too. Mostly because I really want a taco for some reason. I'm out. Women's and TBS champion. Abaddon. Incredible. Cheese and thank you. I'm famished. Here's your Seitan cheesesteak, the vegan version of a Philadelphia steak. How do you veganize something with steak and cheese in the name? Use Seitan, also known as gluten glete, yes, also known as wheat gluten for the rest of the meat, and a cashew-based cheese. We think it's a very tasty alternative. Enjoy. That does actually look very good. That actually looks awesome. Wow. I want that very bad now, chat. Alright, we gotta go to Dynamite. Now that we have a sighted cheesesteak in us, it's time to get this fucking bread. By bread, I mean L's. Lots and lots of L's.
The following contest is set for one fall.
This ought to be one hell of a singles match.
Making his way to the ring, he is very nice, very evil, Danhausen.
Fresh off of his luck
Jungle Boy.
at All Out, where he lost to former teammate Powerhouse Hobbs. Well, set to get the win back against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Hold on. Nah, absolutely no way. Please kill Jungle Boy. I genuinely hate him. I don't like Jack Perry. Come on, man. Listen, no. No. That right there's not in the spirit of this. We have to lose. Alright? We could absolutely get our shit in. But ultimately, we gotta lose this bullshit. I genuinely hate him. Aw. I like him. I enjoy him now that he has more like a Kraven the Hunter gimmick. If you have a bad match with Bryan Danielson, I hate you. I'm glad that we're getting to a point now, especially like with Ricochet's heel turn, where people are realizing that just because you're a heel doesn't mean you need to wrestle bad, you know? Because that's largely why people didn't really like Mox's run. Or like they didn't like Mox's recent run as champion, is because like he was wrestling bad on purpose, and that's not really what people want anymore, you know? I'm sure he's a nice person, and he's fine. Like, what the hell, Jungle Boy-o? Well, listen, Jungle Boy is dad. Is dad. Instead, it is Jack Perry now. And he's much more competent. At least it seems that way. Although, like, at that point, he was also Jack Perry, so... I don't know. But no, unfortunately, I must lose to Jack Perry here. Because that is in the spirit of this. Change Monkey's voice box to sound like the kind used by Bob from SMG4. Well, listen, man, like, here's... I don't want to poot on your parade, right? But, like, that would be funny for you. I don't know who the hell Bob is, you know? Like, Bob is like 50 different people. I'd rather pull a Tegan Knox and Blacklist. Man, I'd rather pull a Tegan Knox and Blacklist from AEW than let Jack Perry go over on me. Unfortunately for you, Danhausen is not a winner, alright? Danhausen is the biggest loser of all time. My dog is going absolutely crazy on that goddamn toy on the ground right now. He is ripping apart that alligator big style. Like everyone else, even Fraus, anyone can get one up on me but Jack. No, you don't mean that. Come on, man. Hell, Serpentico. Nah, come on, man. You don't mean that. Come on now. Well, listen, we're tapping out. Yep. See, man, we're tapping out. Goddamn Serpentico, the biggest hater of Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose's biggest op. Come on, man. You take that shit back. Just imagine Monculus using text-to-speech. Will from afar. Listen, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Danhausen's locker room. Post-match. Okay, time to take a shower. That match wiped me out. Oh, fuck me. Is this who you're talking about, NJF? You think this represents Inner Circle material? Well, I like how a lump of coal is diamond material. There's some potential there. Alright, well, we did the story in the last run, so listen. I think this time, we're down to join the fucking Inner Circle, brother. E-Force course is even cold and everyone's already forgotten him. Everyone's already forgetting about him, LOL. Well, I didn't forget about him, I just have no knowledge of him. Right? I just have no knowledge of him. Outside of, like, because I haven't watched SMG4 since they stopped using, like, Mario models for copyright purposes. So when Dan is sitting here being like, wouldn't it be fun if he was like Bob? And I'm like, who is Bob? You know? Like, I don't know who a Bob is. Dan, which one is Bob? Genuine question. Which one is Bob? Okay, here's the next question. Danhausen, what do you like to do on your days off? My days are a daze and my nights are a fright. I right my wrongs, so what's left is right. Ritsu, is that peak Danhausen that I just read there? Is that poetry? Is that the poetry? The final question. Who would you say is your best friend in AEW? No way! There's a purple giraffe named Carmel? But maybe she's imaginary. Chat. We need to legitimize Carmel the giraffe. Hell yeah, brother. I am now a Carmel fan for life. Stenhausen. Yes! Dude, remember this. I'm fucking marking this. Carmel the giraffe for fucking life. Yes! That's it from Danhausen. Let's hear it, folks. Bob is the cloak guy with the computer voice, the one who uses the Legend of Zero Garo model. Oh. I'm sorry, man. I don't know. I'm very sorry. I don't know, like... I can't picture that in my mind. Maybe I just lack the imagination that you do. In my mind, this guy is crazy. Bob just looks like Bob Holly, and I don't like that for me. Path Tracer. Oh great, it's Danhausen. We needed a force, so I guess you could play. Yeah. So then it's not much...
OWW my ovaries.
Ow, my ovaries. I need a medic bag. Not much like a sobriety test at all, is it? Thanks for nothing. Dude, are we saying that Danhausen
Are you ready?
invented Carmel in a drunk stupor? I don't like that. I don't like that for him. Hey! Carmel needs to be real. Oh, no! Dude, I love, like, his Waluigi-esque voices. No! Dude, I'm gonna lose this one again. I'm gonna lose this shit again. Wanna hear a Danhausen fun fact? Don't tell me you hate Danhausen too, brother. Please. Please get a DNF. Yeah. Dude. Gets a tag team title reign with 2 people. One of them is you, isn't it? I knew it. Alright, do we get any money from that, or do we just waste points? Yeah, we wasted our points, brother. I don't really want to do sightseeing. I want to just kind of eat and then go to my match, you know? I kind of want to just eat and then go to the match. I think that would be best for me. I'm famished. Here it is. 1 vegan barbecue sandwich. All Ego, Ethan Page, and Hornswoggle as the BLP Tag Team Champions. As the Black Label Pro Tag Champs? Wow. Wait, where did he team with Ethan Page? Did he team with... You're a 2 Danhausen? This place is out of this world. Oh yeah, that's right. We already read this one. You get a boop. This was before Chris Statlander was cool. Alright, I'm just gonna go to my match right now, if that's alright. I'm just gonna go in the match now, if that's okay with everybody.
The following contest is a tag team match set for 1 fall.
Trent and Matt freaking Hardy again, and more tag team shit, dude.
Making their way to the ring, he is...
It was a Freebirds rule kind of situation. Oh, okay.
Danhausen.
Oh, so like they were both in Black Label Pro. So like, it's like all 3 of them were tag champs of Black Label Pro at the same time. Got it. Okay. I thought you meant like he had 2 separate reigns as champ. But they were both with like different partners. I was like, Ethan Page and Hornswoggle is a hell of a resume. Danhausen's AEW theme goes so fucking hard. It is wrestling penis music, and I love it a lot. In parts, it's like wrestling penis music, and I love it. All right, we gotta lose to Trent and Matt freaking Hardy. Cake Dragon, do you have any objections to that? Do you have any objections to us losing to Matt freaking Hardy? And Trent for some reason. Dude, why the fuck is Trent his partner and not Jeff Hardy? Jeff is in this game. Jeff Hardy is in this fucking game. Why? Here, Strider music. There we go. Back when I played MVC3. He wants to prove he's better than Jeff. Which, I mean, at this point, Trent might just be better than Jeff. Dude, we are kicking Matt freaking Hardy's ass here. Well, that just won't do. We need to, like, actually lose this. I met Warlow, great guy. I feel really bad for him because he's been off screen for like the longest time, and the moment I cry every time I see him because they don't know how to use him. Dude, they've not known how to use him outside of just being the muscle of a faction ever since he came in. It's honestly shocking how like little he's fucking done in the time that he's come in.
2, 3.
No way, dude. And Matt Hardy's getting better than Jeff by incorporating the Judas effect, I see.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Perfect timing because I need to go and decongest. I'd probably leave the building. Well, if I lost to Matt Hardy and Trent Beretta, I'd probably go to TNA. I'd probably get the fuck out of AEW so fast, you don't even know. Alright, I am going to leave for a second, chat.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw on after this.
Welcome to Namcoville. Namco Museum Volume 5 is, a collection of 5 classic older-than-dirt Namco games from the 70s and 80s. It even comes with a special CD that includes 70s and 80s songs, exhibitions of 70s and 80s clothes, and 70s and 80s pixel dust. There we go again, lies, all lies. There is no CD, folks, but the game does include a kinky, kinda cool gallery, which is fun to explore for a few minutes. You can check out the elevator if you're too much of a lazy bum to climb the stairs. I can relate. I'm so lazy that to avoid walking, I have a special car seat that detaches and rolls into the studio, planting me in front of the desk on our pathetic set. After taping, a trapdoor opens up and I'm thrust into the depths of the basement of this old, disgusting, roach-infested building. Just kidding. Anyway, let's move on. You can also peruse the Opera House and see slideshows of the frame rates from decades past. Plus, hear the old sound effects. The Ghost House is also worth a visit, as you can scare those buttheads out of the window until you're blue in the face. Like the biscuit, I feel like taking a moment, so bear with me for a sec. Okay, thank you. If you don't get it, too bad. Watch more TV. 3 games included in this Namco game are Metro Cross, which gets straight E's no matter how you rate it, Dragon Spirit, E's again, and Baraduke, E's, E's, E's. Together, these 3 games are worth half a bucket of spit, or any other bodily fluid. The only 2 games worth a hill of beans are Legend of Valkyria
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
The former is the first game to feature the famed female Icelandic warriors. Heck, it's probably the only game. These girls are no Xenas either. This game has neat graphics for its time. Look at this effect for climbing a mountain. Cool, huh? If you want to see the earliest Zelda-ish game, this is what you need. Pac-Mania is the best of the bunch. 3D Pac-Man on Legoland, or excuse me, the land formerly known as Lego. Hey, remember our Lego website story? Here's a peek at that. We are, of course, kidding once again. The whole collection gets E's, except for a D in Challenge. These ratings are by today's standards, so what do you expect?
And welcome back to Raw, everyone. We already did this story, so I'm just going to skip through these cutscenes here. Danhausen is thinking about going back to Black Label Pro. I'm gonna be honest, chat. I'm doing the cutscene. The HUD map from Madagascar is ball knowledge. That's crazy. CM Punk, what are you doing here? Same as you, Danhausen, about to float peacefully along the Mississippi. Been enjoying your work in AEW, by the way. Yeah, I mean, do you see, like, the high-profile losses I'm taking, dude? It's incredible jobber work. I don't know if I call it work. I hurt people and then get a paycheck. In fact, I want you to be my opponent when I debut on AEW Rampage. You ready to face the best in the world? You know what? Sure, Pug. Why not? I'm always ready, as long as Carmel the Purple Giraffe says it's okay. Dude, Carmel the Purple Giraffe is getting, like, lore here. Wow. Alright, consider it booked. CM Punk versus Danhausen at Rampage. See you then. Well, that happened. Cool. Cool, I guess. The true best friends, CM Punk and goddamn Danhausen. That's it. What the deuce? I'm having very nostalgia for early 2000s techno dance music. I don't know, man. I mean, like, in your position, I feel like I'm a 2000s nostalgia is in right now. So, you know, being in that sort of like mindset, I think is very understandable. Let's go ahead. Let's do go ahead and do dining here. I don't know, when I think of like early 2000s techno dance music, I think of goddamn... Oh no, man. I think of like 009 Sound System, I think is what it's called. I think of like royalty-free, like early YouTube music, you know? I just know to join the inner circle was one of the smartest things I ever did. Okay, you two. Here's a New Orleans finest of jambalaya. 009 Sound System still hits, dude. I think we gotta play some of that shit when we do the next match, chat. What the scallop? Great. Maybe give me 5 minutes before the next bowl. You got it, hun. I can't believe you ordered 2 bowls. You seen how I fly around the ring? I burn a lot of calories. Okay, Sammy, the Spanish vacuum. Let's get a pic before you need your stomach pump. Dude, is this like vegetarian jambalaya? Honestly, doesn't look bad. Dude, Y2K futuristic aesthetic is so much better than today's minimalistic design slop. Have you guys seen like Taco Bell's like throwback to the 2000s like promotional campaign? It is like the epitome of like companies just completely missing the moment. Like even when throwing back to the 2000s, they cannot help but be like minimalistic and lazy.
The following contest is set for one fall.
It is fake 2000s. Dude, if they want to bring back the 2000s, they need to bring back that chihuahua. That chihuahua. It put the cheesy burrito... It put the cheesy potato burrito back on the menu, man. That's like one of the only things that I liked at Taco Bell. And it's not there. It's not there anymore. It hasn't been for years. This right here is Aura, chat. Alright. Hold on. I think we need to play some sound system here, chat. Hold on. Good punker gear right here. Do you not like it when it's the long boys? I like it when it's the long boys for very obvious reasons, but yeah. Here we go.
Hello, Mario.
The answer to your question is rampant unchecked capitalism, man. As is the question, as is the answer to many questions regarding the woes of our modern society. Honestly, dude, honestly, this shit kind of hits for wrestling matches. Can you get some shit in here, Punk? Or do I need to carry the match for you after your ass has been away for so long? No. I cannot tap him out. No. Hold on. You know what would be funny, chat? If this is the only match we win. Welcome to AEW, punk. Yeah, this right here is like goated punk gear. Also, hi Devin, welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. It's also great because it made people remember Creed as Beast. Dude, it made people appreciate Creed. It made me appreciate Creed, I can tell you that much. Like, with arms wide open. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. With friggin' arms wide goddamn open. Inject that shit into my veins. Alright? Inject that shit right into my veins. Should have been dead on a Sunday morning. Goated shit. Wow. I think this right here is the only match we win, chat. Every other match. Every other match we can lose, but this one I really want to win for some reason. Pretty sure our first interaction was when you had Ari on stream. We spent like 20 minutes talking about Creed. No, you're right. We spent like 20 minutes talking about Creed and shit. No, really? Dude, really? Right here? Right now? I swear to God, dude. The one match I want to win, and I lose it. Really? Nah. The real villainy comes out here, chat. This right here is where the real villainy comes out. No. No, like literally the very first interaction we ever had was either you were like on my stream or yeah, like when I had like Ari on stream and we were just like talking about Creed for like 20 minutes. It was great. We did like Creed karaoke and shit. It was fun. Take me back, man. No. What? Dude. Take me back to a year and a half ago, I think. It's a hot match, chat. Wow. This right here is a hot match. Five-star classic on Rampage. No! One! Dude, he kicked out at one! Ah! Wow! This shit is hot as hell. Ah! Holy shit! Yes. Tap out Punk. Holy shit. Wow. What a match, dude. I literally went, and we did that all to trance. The power of 009 sound system. Dude, no kidding. We would not have won that match if not for the sound system. I know it's more unbelievable that CM Punk debuted on Rampage, or that Danhausen defeated him. This was, funnily enough, CM Punk's first and final AEW match. He was, oddly enough, never seen on AEW programming again. No. That was a goated moment, though. I don't think we need special treatment. Dude, CM Punk is the 1 in 1 in 8. And he will be for the rest of the fucking playthrough. What a match. Wow.
The following contest is a tag team match set for one fall.
I bought the $80 Danhausen box last year, so now I have a giant fucking temporary chest tat to a Danhausen's chest tat.
Very nice. Very evil.
Ritsu, if you and I ever, like, if we ever just, like, by chance go to the same show, you need to, like, wear that tattoo.
Let's shut the up. Chris Jericho.
You need to wear that fucking tattoo if we ever, like, fucking just end up going to the same show.
And his tag team partner, Jungle Boy.
Oh, hey, it's your favorite... Cake Dragon, it's your favorite thing. Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Listen, man, when I was at World's End and he went, whoa, 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 I felt that shit in my bones. That was fun. All right? No way! Kip Up! Oh, Danhausen's a House of Fire coming off of his win at Rampage. Again, I love how he recorded lines for fucking Danhausen here. Where like Danhausen has like special Grunthausens. Wait, can I not do outside dives? Yes, I can. Nice. Concussion. Right there. Jungle Boy, I love you. Oh wow, we have like Jungle Boy haters and truthers in here. In the Long Boy Club. A very diverse lineage here. Danhausen's prepping to fight the goddamn orangutan that Gira fought. How about this, Cake Dragon? I will still lose, but I will work to make sure that Luchasaurus gets the pin. Are we okay with that? Is that a good compromise? Because personally, I think that's a pretty good compromise. Dude, the fact that Luchasaurus is apparently hurt again fucking dude, that stinks. Is he actually like shoot hurt? Because he like comes out and like fucking like taping and stuff now. Like he's still on TV and he's working ankles. But he hasn't wrestled a match in a while.
Hello, Mario.
2 super. 1 is up. I don't think I've seen you here in a minute. How are you? I remember correctly, has reported his shoulders. Dude, at the very least, he's not, like, potentially dying at this, this time. Because there was, like, a lot of concern there for, like, a long time that, fuck getting back in the ring. He might not even, like, live another couple of years. Like, that was scary shit, dude. Yeah, that shit was scary. The fact that he's even on TV at all at this point, that's good enough for me. I know he had pneumonia, and it was like life-threatening. I'm trying my best to lose here, brother. Yeah, 2 super, what's up? I haven't seen you here in a hot minute, actually. You've been following since, goddamn, 2020. I'm sorry. No, you know what? I'm not sorry. 2026, we're done fucking taking the piss out of each other. Or rather, we're done taking the piss out of ourselves. I put a lot of work into this stream. And I put a lot of work into making sure that Danhausen loses to goddamn, what's his face over there? Yes, what's his face? Goddamn Luchasaurus. Yeah, like, Luchasaurus had some form of pneumonia, and that fucked him up for, like, a while. There were, like, legitimate concerns that he might, like, die from it, but thankfully he didn't. And he's back on our screens again. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care if the face turn for, Jack Perry was hot-shotted. Both him and Luchasaurus are just so fun, I love them a lot. I didn't even care if that shit was hot-shotted. Like, fuck yeah, dude. Luchasaurus just survived a life-threatening illness. Come back and be a babyface. That's some babyface shit. That right there is some babyface shit. To friggin', like, defeat pneumonia and then come back. That right there's some babyface shit. Cool. Awesome work from Wardlow. And he's still... And MJF still looks upset about it. Nope, can't show that. Careful, Jericho didn't drink his Ensure this morning. Aw. Well, listen, man. He's got to keep up on that shit, otherwise he doesn't perform his best. We have no energy. Really good time to do a press conference, I feel like. In Seattle. Since MJF left the inner circle, he's been blowing up my phone. So is Jericho, offering me MJF's spot. I haven't taken their calls. I don't like being a pawn in other people's games. At Full Gear, I'll take on MJF and Chris Jericho in a triple threat match. And I'm going to win, because I'm bizarre. Hope you got your tickets to Full Gear, Seattle. No, you will not win, because you are bizarre. Let's see here. You know what, that? Are they at a speedway? Why is the press conference in the middle of nowhere? Listen, man. It's all, we have the whole space to ourselves, all right? Danhausen, just a player character we were waiting for. Today's game is Who's Missing. This will put your skills of observation to the ultimate test, and you'll fail. I'm super observant, Matt, so let's go! Or are you Nick? Okay, cool.
Like a good warm-up.
What the fuck? Dude, what is this sound? Cards will randomly flip over. Oh god, Men of the Year. Shockingly, the Young Bucks are the ones that are missing. We're showing a racetrack. The infield's big enough. I think that would make for like an interesting visual. Like when you need to like tarp over the racetrack itself. Tony Schiavone. Or Jericho's gonna be missing. Under Rosa. Cool. I got that shit locked the fuck in. I think I'm the only one that's gonna have points by the end of this. Oh, Dark Order. Pretty sure that was the Dark Order that was missing. Cool. All of, dude, so many of these cards are like fucking like blasts from the, well, blasts, quote unquote, from the past. Because when I look at Nyla and Vicky Rose, yes. When I look at Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero, all I do is weep. AW All In at Daytona International Speedway. All they would need is the green light from NASCAR. I mean, I think it would make for a fun visual again. But like when you need to like tarp over the track or no. All right. What the hell are we eating in Seattle? Chickpeas are a key ingredient in favorites like hummus and chana masala. They're also really good at salads, especially when accentuated with Mediterranean flavors. I kind of tuned you out after chickpea, but you can leave now. I hope you enjoy it. Dan, come on, man. They're eating Nirvana vinyls in Seattle. Mmm. Yummy glass. My innards love it. That's not vegetarian. That is obviously chicken in there. You'll go gonzo for garbanzo beans, especially in a well-made salad with vinegar dressing. Exactly, home state. Don't order the caviar. It has turned. It turned heel, brother. I saw you with that salad. It looked tasty, but not for a swolverine. If you ever wrestle me, I'll tear you apart like baby spinach. But since we're not wrestling, I'll take a selfie with you. No, the fuck you won't, brother. That right there was a friggin' threat. I'm pretty sure that that was a threat that you just lobbed at me, and I don't appreciate that very much. Honestly. Go out. Dude, fucking Brian Cage is honestly beast. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Cups and cakes. Seattle earned the distinction of being Coffee City, USA. Well, now I see why. This is really good. Nice place, too. That'll be the last drink we have before we need to have our teeth replaced. Does Danhausen have his own coffee? Like, for real, does he have his own coffee? If so, that's fucking awesome.
It's Saturday night, and you know what that means. All Elite Wrestling.
I wouldn't agree, but then again, I hate coffee.
From Seattle, Washington.
Here's my thing, right?
To destroy the inner circle from within. Can he finish the job?
Will Chris Jericho get revenge? But what about the third participant?
Yeah, what about him? What about that Danhausen? I just think he's a piece of shit and shouldn't be on the card, Excalibur.
This is a three-way
It's
match.
Rootless
set
Coffee
for
Company.
one fall.
Chat, do I buy Danhausen's coffee and try it on stream?
Making his way to the ring.
I mean, I already bought a bunch of cookies from California, which, by the way, are on their way, or at least they will be on their way in the next couple of days. How is the commentary on this game? There is none. there is no commentary in this game. Which is funny because, like, if you play like an exhibition match, there's a chance that at the end, a JR would be like, wow, what a match. I'm so glad I was here to call it. And I'm just like, dude, don't sit there and act like that you did something. You know? Don't sit there and act like you just fucking did something because you didn't. Go back to sleep, drink your prune juice, and let the adults here work. Alright? And let the people without diapers in their pants work. Let the people who don't put barbecue sauce on cheese pizza do their fucking work, Jim. What the? Dude, why can't I grapple him? Okay, good. Commentary could have saved it a little. I don't really think it could have. I mean, to be fair, like I've said this a few times as we've played this, but as you know, upon a replay, I don't really think this game's all that bad. It actually has like a lot of things about it that I like, but it's just like everything surrounding the actual gameplay is just very bad or half-baked, you know? I mean, yeah, commentary could have helped a little bit, but that's really like kind of like the least of the issues I have with this package, you know? Also, music, hold on. There. Go ahead and get him, Chris. It's going down now. Okay, never mind. It went... It went down, and now it's over. It went down, for sure, and now it is over. I don't think they'll ever be able to go up there and, like, customize... I played that song in trombone, champ. That's awesome. This Chef Beyond just bested 2 rivals in 1 match. And to think, one of you was my right hand in the inner circle, and the other one turned down the job. And where are you both now? The rest did some loser row. Listen, man. I didn't turn down the job. I said yes. You're not the first Chris Jericho wannabe. You won't be the last, but I can definitely say you, MJF, are the most pathetic. Chris Jericho sees a Percy inner circle and 2 bad apples. It looked better than ever in the process. What an impressive end to Full Gear. Thank you for joining us. Oh, fucking got him. Well, what the fuck do we have next for the storyline? Because the story is looking decent so far. Relationship problems? Dude, come on. I don't think I played this story yet, so that'll be good to have for next time, I feel like. Fucking got him. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Ah, I got an email from the office. A sponsor was impressed by your performance at Full Gear. I know, right? I was so gracious in giving Chris Jericho that win. They're offering dinner for 2 in Toronto. What kind of party shall we make this? Romantic or sparring? Maybe Dude, Danhausen is actually fucking crazy here. You know it, floating box. You know it, floating box. Show me what you got. What? Oh. Wait. Guys. I think we know what we need to do here. Actually, no, hold on. Who the hell is our dinner partner here? Because honestly, I don't think we need to look very far. I think that our dinner partner is staring us right in the face. Right here. Essentially, we're going to dinner for two in Toronto. Who the hell are we taking? I think John Blood would be super funny, frankly. Riho would be good. I don't know John Blood. I see his name a ton though. Deadlock and New Legacy Inc. Man. I think we need to reform Dan Hobson, chat. I think there's money in that. Johnny Spiels, we love him. Yes, we do. Why does Pac look like Jesus? He's always looked like Jesus. Alright, we'll do Riho. Riho and Danhausen sounds incredible, honestly. Let's do it. Chitao Regal in Toronto. I butchered that real bad. Thank you for the invite. I'm glad you consider me someone to hang out with outside the arena. Answer kindly. Listen, man, we're here to rizz up Riho. We need her to be our friend. Okay? We live a crazy lifestyle. Having good people around us keeps us sane. Yeah, I feel the same way. Do either of you have room for dessert? I don't. Danhausen, what do you think? Absolutely, brother. Yeah, if dinner was any indication, dessert will be worth the calories. Wonderful. I'll be back with a selection. You got a cavity-filled sweet tooth? I hope you're planning on working out twice tomorrow to compensate. 10 minutes later. That was delicious and free. Should we go spend some money in Toronto? Are we fiscally responsible? Listen, man. Again, friendship points. Toronto's a great place to get in some trouble. I'm down. Sounds good. Said so you hooked this up. The next spot is my treat. All done, you two? Just one more thing. Take a picture? Abso-fucking-lutely. 2 pictures with Rio and 1 playthrough? Dude, 2 photos with Riho in 1 playthrough. Ritsu is absolutely losing it right now. No, I think you mean Rehausen. That's fucking Rehausen to you. Rehausen, yes. Well, we'll see the adventures of Rehausen in the next AEW Fight Forever stream. But for now, chat, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, okay? We're gonna switch gears a little bit and kind of just hang out for the last bit of this stream, all right? But first, before we do that, because I have something fun that we can do. Great. Something fun, because you might remember the Deadlock Boys a little bit ago. Like a couple hours ago. When we were jump scared by the Deadlock Boys. Because they have a bit in their new podcast episode that made me laugh really hard, and I want to expand on it a little bit. All right. So we'll be doing that next. But first, let's go ahead. Let's run the ad. This has been very fun so far. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with me this evening.
It's break time.
Being part
Where
of
the
the
heck's the
first
Cheetos, my dudes?
LBC stream of the year. Raw rolls on after this. Watch, it's gonna be super short.
How about fighting?
Ah, perfect, dude.
We have to begin with a claim.
Anyways, I'll be back in a few minutes.
WWF attitude. While we have yet to review the N6.
Alright, are we all still alive? Normally I don't take a break like that. But I needed a boost. And also I needed to friggin' decongest again. I'm not a fan of winter, chat.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Not quite yet, homunculus. Because I increased the ad times.
Hello, Mario.
Oh there, my long neck friend. Hi, BitGamer. Welcome to tonight's Longboy Club meeting. I'm waiting on ads to finish. Give me just a second here, and then we will get into the post show of tonight, which is really just kind of expounding upon something that I thought was incredibly funny, and that is a bit from the Deadlock podcast. From this week's episode where they go over Kane and Lita's Wedding from Hell on the August 3rd, 2004 episode of Monday Night Raw. And there's a bit at the beginning of it, because, like, you have to understand, right? I work, either, like, I'm not working at Walmart for much longer, but generally speaking, I put on headphones while I'm on the floor, or at least I put on a headphone while I'm on the floor, so I can listen to something while I'm working. And, you know, sometimes I'll put on the Deadlock podcast, and the boys make me hee hee ha ha very, very much, and it makes me look like an idiot while I'm trying to do my job. This was definitely one of those moments where I hee hee ha ha'd and I just looked like a fucking dumbass for the majority of the time I was doing my job that day, because I was thinking about this bit, you know? I was thinking about this bit. Basically, James, one of the hosts of the podcast, has such a disdain for Raw during this particular era, that he fucking goes over stuff that you could be doing in 2004 besides watching Raw. And it is the funniest shit that I've heard in a while. Here, it's 4 minutes. It's a little bit long, but bear with me.
Well, I wanted to talk about this before we get into the show. 2004 is a bad year for Raw.
That's true. I mean, like, if this show or any other 2004 show we watched, we watched the one just before this, like, we're not getting any great matches.
You guys have to understand how fucking awesome 2004 was to really understand what I'm saying here. I got a couple of things that were happening in 2004 that were way, way better than this show.
Like stuff you could be enjoying other than this.
Right. Like, what are my options in 2004, right?
Sure.
To do compared to watching Raw, because you know, before that wasn't a problem. Shit was dope. Shit was always happening. You had Stone Cold, The Rock. 2004 hits. The Rock's gone. Stone Cold gone. Evolution is killing everyone on this show. But if you look outside of that 2004, shit was fucking awesome. Because 2004 video games, I'm just going to name a few here. Just so you guys can get an idea here.
This is fucking ridiculous.
Halo 2 came out in 2004. Half-Life 2, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, fucking Metroid Prime 2, The Sims 2, critically acclaimed the best Sims game, Fable, the first Far Cry, Tony Hawk Underground 2, Def Jam Fight for New York. Dude,
man,
that's
those
nuts.
Are heavy. That's
Counter-Strike Source. I mean, these are just games that I literally, they're right here on the top of this search. If I looked even further, there's probably even more. That's just the video games. All right? Let's look at the NBA. Let's look at the NBA. The NBA, we were watching, in 2004, we were watching Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan.
There's a Kane angle at the end of this.
Kane. So you could have been playing Halo 2, or you could be watching Kane?
He's like, this is like a top angle, him and Matt Hardy.
We look at the NFL. Like, don't even get me started on 2000. LaDainian Tomlinson was running everywhere, man. Are you kidding me? Terrell Owens, Hines Ward, Musa Muhammad, the Panthers. Hey,
Yeah, but
we had a fucking championship contender team, Julius Peppers.
La Resistance are the tag champs here.
Toonami was airing Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Z, Justice League Unlimited, Teen Titans, and you want me to watch Are you serious? I mean, they just had no chance as a kid here. In 2004, I was 11 years old in 2004, and you wanted me to watch Kane instead of Justice League Unlimited and Dragon Ball GT? Dude, yeah,
come on.
Just no fucking chance. Are you kidding me? Super Saiyan 4 and you won't... I'm watching Kane. Super Saiyan 4 is happening, and I'm watching Kane. There's just no fucking way. Like, Barry Bonds is still... Like, 13 All-Star games, and you
want me to watch Kane?
It's just not happening, man. So I just thought maybe I'd get that out there, you know, just to give you guys an idea of the world and how things were back then.
No, that's good. I like that. That's a good seg.
Yeah.
the world as Raw turns.
I mean, yeah, just what a great era for anything but WWE.
I mean, this puts this whole show in a whole different light for me. I gotta be honest with you.
I just wanted to make sure everyone kind of got the idea of what was going on in 2004.
Putting the listener in that bubble though is perfect for this episode.
Dude, hearing that for the first time on the floor of Walmart, I have not laughed that hard in a long time. Super Saiyan
Nothing
4,
beats a cool,
and I'm
refreshing
watching
sip of
Kane.
water.
Super Saiyan 4 is happening, and I'm watching Kane. Had me fucking dying. And you know what? I figured that we would spend the last 20, 30 minutes or so of this stream kind of expounding on James' point a little bit. Like, besides, you know, the NBA and the NFL, Julius Peppers. Hold on. Let's actually look up Julius Peppers here real quick. Julius Peppers. Okay. He is football, man. American former professional football player who is a defensive end and linebacker for the National Football League. What were his teams? Oh, the Packers. And it seems like he was in more of them too. No, I want his goddamn thing here. Okay, so he was with the Panthers wow, he actually had a pretty long career. He started with the Panthers, he went to the Bears, the Packers, and then he finished his career with the Panthers. I'm a Browns fan. I love the Browns. Do you like losing too? Because I hear that you know, if you enjoy losing, the Browns are for you. I love it. I'm gritting my fucking teeth. Dude, you're like Danhausen. You're just eating those fucking losses for breakfast. And you love it, bro. You know that's where the fucking money is. Now, granted, I'm not very knowledgeable on, you know, football. I would like to become more knowledgeable about basketball. You know, because like basketball is probably my favorite of the ball sports. So, you know, like the NBA, that's something I would like to get more into. But like, I don't know where to even fucking begin with that. But no, I figured that we would spend the last 20 or 30 minutes of this stream expounding on James' point. Let's see what else you could fucking do in 2004. Because in 2004, I was only like 4 or 5 years old, right? I was not the demographic for Raw around this time period. But let's assume that I was, and let's assume that I, the 26-year-old Giraffe Estev, am in 2004. What do I want to watch besides wrestling, right? Let's look at cartoons in 2004. Again, Justice League Unlimited. We got the 2004 fucking Batman show. Foster's Home. We got the SpongeBob movie coming out and shit. We have season 3 of goddamn... Hold on. Season 3 of SpongeBob. Do you want to know what season 3 had? Do you want to know what season 3 of SpongeBob had? It had goddamn Murray Man and Barnacle Boy 4. it had Just One Bite. It had the Nasty Patty. It had Idiot Box. It had Snowball Effect in there. The one where, like, Squidward takes a snowball fight super seriously. You know? We had the one where, like, Mr. Krabs sold SpongeBob's soul for a dime. Hold on. We also have the goddamn one where, like, SpongeBob becomes super high on his own supply, like with his small cameo in the goddamn Krusty Krab commercial, you know? We got Squilliam Returns, we got Crabborg. Who's watching the cash register? We have goddamn Clams. You have Ugg. Dude, we have all of these. Dude, wait. Is the Krusty Krab training video in the Krusty Krab training video is a part of this season? And you want me to watch Kane? Me $1 million. Nah, I'm watching Kane, dude. Fuck Mr. Krabs and his $1 million. I'm watching Kane. I am watching Kane instead of that bullshit, dude. Wow. That is goated. Let's see here. You can watch Fat Albert instead of Kane from the movie Fat Albert from fucking 2004. Hold on. What did Cartoon Network in 2004? What the fuck does it have? Let's see here. Hold on, I'm putting on music. We have goddamn dude, Megas XLR, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Hi Puffy Amiyumi, the Clone Wars micro series, K&D, Billy and Mandy, T-Titans, again. And you want me to watch Kane? No, absolutely the fuck not, dude. There is absolutely no chance that I'm watching that over goddamn Foster's Home and Hi Puffy Amiyumi. You know? And Evil Con Carne. That was like the spin-off of Billy and Mandy too, wasn't it? Grim and Evil would essentially become Foster. No. Hold on just a second. Grim and Evil was essentially just what became goddamn Billy and Mandy. And then Evil Con Carne became its own thing. I remember that. You had the fucking series finale of Johnny Bravo, if you were into that. The end of Samurai Jack as we knew it at that time. Justice League Unlimited, Mucha Lucha, if you're into that goddamn thing. Again, all this stuff. And we had a lot like of the old, like, you know, Cartoon Network stuff on there still too, like Ed, Edd n Eddy. Dude, the ads are trying to get these goddamn Jawbreakers still. They're still on that shit. And you want me to watch Kane instead of them? No, absolutely the fuck not. Cartoon Network City. I remember that shit. CN City fucking launch replacing Powerhouse. That's insane. Wow. What did Nickelodeon look like in the same time frame? CN City solos every CN era. Dude, no fucking shot, too. You know? You're so right on that. 2004 had the fucking SpongeBob movie, dude. Fuck off with this, dude. I'm a kid. You had Drake and Josh. You had, dude, listen, I'm over here playing I'm over here playing Tak and the Power of Juju and the Staff of Dreams instead of watching Kane. All right. Instead of watching Kane, I'm playing Tak and the Staff of Dreams is what it's called. Yes, I'm playing that shit. Like you had all, dude. SpongeBob needs to get the crown, save the town, and Mr. Krabs. No, more like Kane needs to get married to Lita. You know, I'm watching Kane. I grew up with CN Real, man. I had it, dude. Same. Like I was within the age demographic to where I would like remember that stuff. And I grew up on that shit, just about. Yeah, like Evil Con Carne was like just a spinoff. That was, I think that was pretty short-lived too, right? No. It like aired. Oh wait, hold on. No. Yeah. Like it was pretty short-lived. It was only like a year and change. I say this as someone who doesn't hate Andrew WK. I don't think anyone hates Andrew WK. They just hate the stuff that he was attached to. But Destroy, Build, Destroy. That shit was peak, okay? That shit there was peak. Less said about Children Mythbusters, the better, though. They had The Miz and Morris. I'm sorry, what? They had Miz and Morrison in one episode. ECW Legends. Yes, I love that shit, dude. Hold on. I want to look up other video games in 2004. Dude, Half-Life 2 was in 2004. That's awesome. Hold on. Best-selling games. Prince of Persia, Warrior Within, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green? Dude, no way. Dragon Quest 8. I just played Katamari Damacy, and you want me to watch Kane? Need for Speed Underground 2. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald? No way, I grew up on that shit, dude. You got Gran Turismo 4. Spider-Man 2? Dude, the original Spider-Man 2 game. And you want me to watch Kane? No way, dude. The Simpsons? No. Wait, hold on. Okay, well that was released like earlier in 2003. Got it. But like this right here was for sure 2004. Dude, this was 2 months before the friggin' thing. You got Need for Speed Underground. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, which came out in December of 2003, so not necessarily it. The Sims Bustin' Out, which in Australia, that was like it. Yes. Dude, the first Star Wars Battlefront? No, no way. Hold on. Star Wars Battlefront. God damn it, it gave me the goddamn, it gave me the EA version. Yeah, Star Wars Battlefront, the original was in 2004. It was in September 2004. No, dude, you wouldn't want to watch Kane instead of anything from CN Real. Look at fucking Andrew WK blowing up a car. You don't think that shit is peak? Come on. You would not want to watch Kane instead of goddamn Andrew WK blowing up a car. All right? That shit was peak. Speaking of peak, Star Wars Battlefront. Granted, the second game is much better, but this one is also no slouch. This one's also good. Dude, I could be fucking shooting stormtroopers and you want me to watch Kane? Absolutely not, dude. And you want me to watch Kane instead of shooting those guys? Absolutely the fuck not. Onimusha 3. Again, Dragon Quest 8. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Pikmin 2? Nah. Pikmin 2? No. There's no way I'm watching Kane over Pikmin 2. Okay? There is no way. Pikmin 2 came out. Louie's over here trying to eat the Pikmin. And you want me to watch Kane instead of that? Get out of here, man. WarioWare Twisted. The Minish Cap. I mean, that was only in Japan and Europe, but still. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Burnout 3 Takedown? Wow. We got Ninja Gaiden. Metroid Prime 2, like you said. One of the early Total War games. Ratchet and Clank 2. Mish Cap while watching Keiji Muto because fuck it. Japanese kids were playing Mish Cap while watching Keiji Muto because fuck Kane. Dude, that's awesome. As they should, because Keiji Muto is fucking awesome. Pro Evolution Soccer 4. The Chronicles of Riddick. Metroid Zero Mission. It probably would be peak if it was on another network, not a Cartoon Network. Well, it just sounds like you're being a purist. Alright? Like, I think the CN Real shows were bad, completely divorced from the fact that it was on Cartoon Network. They were bad because they were bad. You know? Like, no one wants to watch child-friendly, like, Mythbusters or Survive, you know? Like, no one wants that shit. When you could just watch Survive and Mythbusters. Dude, what would happen if I switched over to Nickelodeon and didn't watch your network anymore? Like, again, I think that they're bad, completely divorced from the fact they're on Cartoon Network. On Everyone's Life, we watch, dude, what would happen? Guess what, Steph? What the fuck? What the fuck should I guess? Nickelodeon Worldwide Day of Play. This is Nickelodeon's Worldwide Day of Play. Well, at that point, I'm forced to watch Kane, unfortunately. At that point, I'm basically forced to watch Kane. Dude, Beautiful Joe? Counter-Strike Source, yes. Nancy Drew, if you want to be that type of person. Football Manager 2005. Wow, Sega was like publishing this for like decades at this point. Wow. Sly Cooper 2, Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door, and you want me to watch Kane? No! No way! I need to go on an adventure with Goombella, brother! Kane could go fuck himself. No way. Absolutely no way. Wow. Let's see here. Sonic Battle? Dude, I could be mashing 2 buttons on my goddamn Game Boy, and you want me to watch Kane? Let's see here. Again, Metroid Zero Mission. Unreal 2? Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Tournament GBA. Dude, I'm over here playing Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem instead of watching K because Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem's actually kind of based. Let's see here. Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes on GameCube. If you want to be that type of person. Sonic Heroes? And you want me to watch Kane? Instead of looking at all those Eggman's robots? Ain't no way, brother. I don't even care if Sonic controls like he's been dipped in butter. I'm playing Sonic Heroes. I'm singing We Can and Follow Me at the top of my lungs instead of watching Kane. Total Extreme Wrestling 2004 came out in 2004 and you expect me to watch Kane? Nickelodeon's Worldwide Day of Play. Get the fuck outside, son. Touch grass, son. Never. Never. You can't make me touch grass and you can't make me watch Kane. I'm gonna fucking play Sonic Battle on my goddamn GBA, thanks. Hitman contracts. Red Dead Revolver? Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the first one. Metal Slug 3 on GBA. Half-Life Source. Thief Deadly Shadows. Sonic Advance 3? Four Swords Adventures. Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors, probably not that great, honestly. Again, Spider-Man 2. Like, Tales of Symphonia? No. And you want me to watch Kane? Driver 3 came out on PS2 and Xbox that year. Puyo Pop Fever. Mega Man X Command Mission. Let's see. Doom 3 was released on PC. Crazy Bus? Crazy Bus! Crazy fucking Bus. Hold on. Crazy Bus. The game with this music came out in 2004. All right? And you want me to watch Kane? No! This hits. Yeah, like a bat to the fucking balls. No fucking way. This is what happens when you convert a JPEG to a MIDI. Dude. This was in 2004. This. And you want me to watch Kane? No fucking way, dude. No way. This hits. This hits. It fucking does, doesn't it? Wow. What if that was Kane's theme in 2004? I'm pretty sure that TNA would die at that point in time. Crazy Bus, also spelled Crazy Bus, one word, is a 2004 unlicensed bus simulator video game. Originally created as a tech demo, it was subsequently put on a ROM cartridge and published by an unauthorized third party for the Sega Genesis. The game was developed by Venezuelan game developer Monero, I believe, under the alias Tom Scripps. Crazy Bus was initially uploaded online as a software test program made for the Sega Genesis. It was developed by Venezuelan Tom Scripps. After attracting the attention of video game enthusiasts in the United States and elsewhere, ROM cartridge was created by a third party, complete with cover art and a user manual. Neither the game's creator nor Sega were involved in the release of the cartridge. Dude, that's awesome. Wow. Crazy Buses gained notoriety for its bizarre, scrambled music. The soundtrack has been described as by Scream Rant as one of the most over-the-top and intolerably shrill soundtracks of all time, and by CBR as chaotic. The soundtrack was featured on the 2022 Level Up Gaming Soundtracks episode of BBC Radio 3's Link Junction music program. In 2014, the game was reviewed in episode 124 of the popular web series Angry Video Game Nerd, where all aspects of the game were criticized for poor quality, according to a 2021 report published by the University of Carabobo. While Crazy Bus didn't achieve commercial success as a pirated game, the subsequent popularity of Crazy Bus drew attention to other games published in Venezuela. The game is considered notable as an unusual part of video game history and is often played by YouTubers and Twitch streamers, who mainly treat it as a strange novelty. And really, this? Dude, who composed this? Try listening to this in a metal room. No, you can't make me do that, man. You can't make me do that shit. Wow. Dude, that's so awesome. That is fucking awesome. Alright, what else came out? Again, Beautiful Joe. Pikmin 2. WWE Day of Reckoning. I could be playing WWE and not watching WWE. You know? Literally, this came out. Literally, if you were a WWE fan, this came out 2 days after. No, like a week after the goddamn wedding angle. You know? Ari Teddy Tombo played a modded version and it fucking ruled. I would like to play it at some point on stream. I've never played it. But no, like, dude, you could be playing WWE Day of Reckoning instead of watching Kane. That would be the ultimate insult. Wow. Digimon Arena Rumble 2. Silent Hill 4 The Room, if you like that. Dude, Fairly Odd Parents Shadow Showdown? Dude, I could be playing my childhood instead of watching Kane. Wow. The Adventures of Ginny Neutron Boy Genius. Attack of the Twonkies. King of Colosseum 2. Japanese video game. Published by Spike. Hold on, let me see here. King of Colosseum 2. Isn't that like another wrestling game? Hold on. It's 3D Fire Pro. That's awesome. Dude, you can be playing Colosseum instead of watching Kane and instead watching goddamn Keiji Muto. That's incredible. Call of Duty United Offensive. Again, Sly 2, The Sims 2. F-Zero GP Legend. Star Wars Battlefront, you're right. Star Wars Trilogy, Apprentice of the Force. Rogue Total War. Dude, the Shark Tale video game. Crash to Insanity. Tony Hawk's Underground 2. Mega Man 03. Again, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Blood Rain 2. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Outrun 2. Which I didn't even know that fucking existed. Def Jam Fight for New York. I saw that, yeah. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Dude, this might be the best year of all time. Wow. Spyro, A Hero's Tale? No way! Jack 3, Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, and you want me to watch Game. I can play Donkey Kong Country 2 on the GBA if I want. Dragon Ball Z, Budokai 3. Again, Half-Life 2. Pac-Man World was put on the GBA somehow. I haven't read those Snicket books in years. Dude, have you played Blinks in years? Because you can play Blinks 2, Masters of Time and Space, instead of watching Kane. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Super Mario 64 DS, and you could be watching Kane. No way. Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt. World of Warcraft came around at this point in time. Dude, I played Mario 64 on DS. That was like how I first played Mario 64. On the DS. Wait, did we actually like time out the music? Okay, never mind. It went really quiet and I was just like, wow. Alien Hominid. Again, World of Warcraft. Mr. Driller. Mario Party 6. Knights of the Old Republic 2. Even the music can't believe these game releases. Dude, KOTOR 2. And you want me to watch Kane? No! I'm over here fighting the goddamn Sith Lords instead of watching Kane. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. It's Mr. Pants. Mega Man X8. Beautiful Joe 2 released in the same year. Wow. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. Gary's Mod? No. Okay, I was about to say, dude, why is Gary's Mod put on here? Oh, it's probably just the original, like, Windows release. Got it. Dude, I bet Gamefly made hella money this year. Dude, off of Half-Life 2 and goddamn Lemony Snicket, I would not be surprised if they made bank this year. Wow. Also, wait, when did the PSP launch? The PSP was about to launch here in North America. In Japan, they were already playing their PSPs instead of watching Kane. You also got the Game Boy Advance SP. You got the goddamn N-Gage. You got the N-Gage, dude. You can play Sticky Balls instead of watching Kane. Wait, was Sticky Balls on this? Or am I thinking of No, I'm not thinking of the friggin' N-Gage. I'm thinking of the goddamn Gizmondo. You know? I'm thinking of the goddamn Gizmondo. Let's see here. They had WWE Aftershock on it. Hold on. WWE Aftershock. I need to see this. What is this? Direct feed? Dude, that's awesome. Best of 5 Pitfall? Holy shit. Wow. Dude, they have like chicken legs for arms. That right there is Jericho with like chicken legs for arms. Okay, what about Eddie? Come on, man, I need to see Eddie's arms. No! Okay, you know what? Fine. This guy better not say anything. I don't care about him. I just want to listen to the goddamn thing here. I want to listen to WWE Aftershock. Is there any music? Okay. Oh my god. Engage Arena. Dude, could you go online with this? Could you go online with WWE Aftershock? If you could go online, then holy fucking shit, dude. You have 4 arenas. Well, really only 2. You have 2 arenas here. You have the Raw set, and you have the SmackDown set. Surely this game is emulatable. Dude, I need to figure out how to emulate this, and we need to, like, play fucking WWE Aftershock on stream. This is an anomaly. I didn't even know about this. Ritzy, why didn't you tell me about this? So wait, we have face Edge gear, but heel Edge music? There's a Fire Pro game for Java or some shit that released in Japan around 2012. It has Kana. Dude, that's insane. That's pre-Asuka. How the fuck does this play? It's so crunchy. Dude, look at the sweat that's coming off of these guys. Dude, they're like little like balloons in there. Can you grapple in this? Or is it just like, or is it just happy slaps the whole time? No way, dude. They're like little water balloons. Is there any grappling in this? Or is it just like strikes? Because so far it just seems like it strikes. I did know that SVR 10 had a DS release. I would like to play it at some point. I mean, I played it when I was a kid, but I know. Oh, hey, we got. Wait, what? How do you do grapples in this game? Because that right there. Like, how do you do that Samoan drop? Yes, it is the best way to play it. Also, Ironside with the Long Boys, girls, NBs, and AGs. You kind of came in at the very end of the stream. But I appreciate it nonetheless, my friend. Welcome on into tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. What did you do? Did you have fun doing it? Right now, we are at the tail end of... Again, we're at the tail end of the stream. And we're just kind of, you know, going over things. We're just kind of going over things that you could be doing in 2004 instead of watching Kane on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, what the fuck did you do, Ironside? Hopefully you had fun doing it. We had a lot of fun playing AEW Fight Forever this evening, but right now we're watching Engage Wrestling. With how I botched cucking Earl Hebner? Dude, I can't read. Call me Hulk Hogan with how I botched chucking Earl Hebner over $1 Million Incorporated. Okay, Hulk Hogan. I'm very stuffed up, sorry. I was just doing some chess. Chess, wow. You're so smart. Yeah, like he just did like a fucking Boston grab for like 10 seconds there. That's real grabs, brother. I love the sound design of this. Oh, got my ass set all the way from 700 to 600. Better luck next time, brother. This is so crunchy. I want to play this so bad, though. Wow. What can you even do in this? I would be stun locked if there was a season mode in this. Wait, is this the... No. This is not the DS. It's the N-Gage. This right here is the fucking N-Gage. Oh no, I can hear the clacking of the keys. You need to mash the fucking phone buttons? That is diabolical. You gotta mash the keys on your phone to make someone tap. That's evil. That is diabolical, man. No! Absolutely the fuck not. Now, Steph, are we going to see a stream where you play the WWE plug-and-play game? If you send that shit to my house, I will gladly play it. Because I know about it. I know about the WWE, like, Jack-specific plug-and-play game. What? Wait. They locked up. They locked up. How do you lock up? Also, Edge is a bloody mess. Dude, Edge is gushing. Dude, he's like gushy here more than like fucking, more than goddamn it, Eddie was against JBL. This is like fire fantasy for the GB if it was somehow better and worse. It is simply something that you can do with your thumbs, is this game. Wait, what? Wait, does he pin him? Okay. That's insane. This is deadass better than Zukei's bleeding effect. LMFAO. There wasn't even an elbow. Dude, that was the craziest 5-knuckle shuffle of all time. He hit him with his, like, chicken bone hand. He just pinned him, yeah. Wow. Chat, I don't know how we're going to top that. I don't think we can. I don't think we can top that. I think we just need to raid out now. I think we just need to fucking raid out now.
For life.
Emil Batstorm, I think is how you call it. Thank you for following. You are now a member of the Longboy Club for life. We are 4 followers away. No, 6. Sorry. 6 followers away from 900.
Hello, Mario.
From 900 followers. I'm hoping to reach 1,000 this year. I think that's doable. Frankly, I think that is incredibly possible. But I need to lock in. I need to lock in for all of y'all. And again, this has been an incredible stream. Thank you all very much for friggin' joining us. 5 minutes away from Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement show, which we will be watching tomorrow in the Longboy Clubhouse. By the way, I have a Discord. It got him deleted last year because I fell for a scam. So if you think that you're in the server, you might want to check again because you might not be. The link right there is a link to the new server. Tomorrow night, we will be watching Wrestle Kingdom 20 in the server, which contains, again, Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement match against the legendary Kazuchika Okada. along with a it seems like a title for a title match between Yodatsuji and Konosuke Takeshita, and much, much more. I want to get more into wrestling this year, not just like, just like as a sport, but just like, different fucking bits of it, particularly Japanese wrestling. That's something I've been wanting to get into for a long time. Siri versus Saya Kamitani too. Fucking Siri thought that I was talking to them and not saying Siri. Yeah, like I can't say the name of it without goddamn Siri. Without goddamn my phone being like, hey, you need something? Yeah, I need you to get out of here. And I need all of you to join the Longboy Clubhouse Discord server, because we are going to be watching the show tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, it is a new server. The old one got fucking nuked. So if you think you're in it, you might want to check again. And I would love to have you over there. For now, let's go and raid out to somebody. The next time that we stream, we will finish up AEW Fight Forever. Probably for good. Honestly, I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like, genuinely, like, no meme. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. It's a lot better than I gave it credit for, like a long time ago. So, yeah. Hold on. Let's go ahead and raid into someone that I don't always raid into. I'm trying to raid into someone that's not, like getting a super amount of viewers. But that may just have to be what we do. That may just have to be what happens here. Anyways, yeah, my friend MC Bohm is fucking playing Elden Ring, Night Rain right now. Go and give him some Longboy Club love. There it is, right there. Longboy Club love. That is for the subs. Longboy Club love. Those are the raid messages right there. Copy and paste them in his chat. Again, appreciate all of you very, very much. Thank you for friggin' joining me for the first show of 2026. I have a lot of things I want to do this year. Some of it is pretty experimental. I hope that you all join me for it. For now, though, I'm going to go and decongest a little bit and decompress. Get some actual dinner in me. Go and show MC Bones some love. Thank you all very much, and I will see you in the server. And if I don't, I will see you back here next time. I hate my tar.